and Scotland, still around 20 degrees Celsius for parts of Aberdeen and eastern areas, but perhaps a few spots of rain for the Highlands and over the hills here, and temperatures around 13 or 14 degrees Celsius, which is a touch closer towards average for the time of year. Quite breezy in the northwest as well, with that frontal system in play, and the cloud will linger here throughout the night, the rain perhaps turning a bit more persistent, but for much of other areas it is going to be a clear night to come. A few mist and fog patches forming in places, but skies should be pretty clear throughout. Temperatures are a bit of a mix between rural and urban areas. In rural regions we may drop down into mid-single figures, but most of us in our towns and cities are starting off in double digits on Sunday morning. And it's widespread blue skies for the vast majority of us into this second day of the bank holiday weekend. Plenty of fine conditions if you want to get outside, the exception once again being the far northwest of Scotland, where that rain is going to persist right throughout the day and again hold those temperatures back. But temperatures climbing up a little further now in the southeast towards 31 degrees Celsius. There's plenty more sunshine on the cards throughout into Bank Holiday Monday and next week, including now for northern Scotland, and those temperatures really peaking as we head into Monday. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Are you dreaming of a ton of tax-free cash this summer? We want to make that dream come true with a stunning £76,543 and 21 pence in cash to spend however you like. Put a new car on the drive or just relax in the knowledge that this year we've got your back. For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From court mornings
to warm family brunches,
from football to tennis in the car,
in the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there with the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua. It is 3 o'clock and for the next few hours, me and my panel will be taking on some of the big topics hitting the headlines right now. This show is all about opinion. It's mine, it's theirs, and of course it's yours. We'll be debating, discussing, and at times we will disagree, but no one will be cancelled. So joining me for the next few hours, broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy. and also former Labour advisor Paul Richards. So coming up in My Niggle.
National insurance, up. Capital gains tax, up. Inheritance tax, up. Energy taxes, up. Business rates, up.
Yeah, Rishi Sunak, he had a point, didn't he? Tax, more tax. Is that Labour's answer to literally everything? I'll be giving you my view in My Niggle. Now, coming up, GB News can now confirm that a third migrant dinghy is, yes, it's on the way, it's in the English Channel and heading towards Dover. Well, we will keep our eye on all of that and bring you the latest, obviously, with this fabulous warm weather. They're sort of taking advantage of all of that. Then, difficult conversations. Joining me live in the studio, Kira Ruddock. Now, she is currently serving as the People's Deputy in Ukraine and is the leader of the Holos Party. Now, she'll be joining me to discuss the latest news from the Ukrainian war, and we'll be asking her what's next for Ukraine. Then later on in the Great British Debate, it's been reported that UK officials suggested establishing a single market for goods trade and the EU as part of the next phase of its Brexit reset. Sounds like we're going back in, but we're told no by the EU, so they don't actually want us. I'll be asking if Britain's proud legacy is being betrayed by our hapless politicians. My poll is live on gbnews.com. I'm asking you that very question. Please cast your vote. But before we get started, your latest news with Tatiana Sanchez.
Nana, thank you very much and good afternoon. The top stories: 162 migrants have arrived into Dover on Border Force vessels today after they set off on small dinghies this morning. We now know that there is a third dinghy in the English Channel. It's making slow but steady progress towards the UK. The boat set off from a beach south of Boulogne. Well, a surge in channel crossings is expected this weekend as a heat wave hits the UK. 400 migrants were recorded making the journey yesterday. GB News' national reporter Will Godley has more.
One set off from France at 8 o'clock this morning. The other set off from Belgium in the early hours before then arriving in Dunkirk around 6 o'clock in the morning. Both boats linked up with Border Force vessels at the halfway point of the English Channel. Before then, Border Force officers brought them in here for processing. Our provisional figures show there were 162 people on board these two boats. But with this warm weather and calm winds continuing, no doubt people smugglers want to take advantage of the weather. More crossings could continue this bank holiday weekend.
French authorities have suspended the new EU border checks at the port of Dover after delays reached up to 5 hours. It comes as tens of thousands of holidaymakers try to cross the Channel for the bank holiday weekend. The port is allowing anyone who missed their ferry crossing because of queues to travel on the next available slot free of charge. Meanwhile, temperatures could be higher than the Seychelles today, with highs of 30 degrees expected in the south of England. Britain's also forecast to see its hottest May day on record on Monday, with temperatures reaching 33 degrees across the south and the Midlands. The UK Health Security Agency has issued amber heat health alerts for the Midlands, the east and southeast of England and London until Wednesday evening. With those aged 65 and over at risk, GB News' Tara Goodsell spoke to people in the capital about how they're enjoying the weather.
Really enjoy it. I mean, we don't get it very often, do we? So we've got to make the most of it.
I won't be out and about too much, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big lover of the heat.
I've got water with me and I've got suntan lotion, so yeah, I think it's fine.
It probably will be too hot later, yes. And then we'll just have to retire to a bar and stay there for the rest of the evening.
Seychelles, really? I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it does get a bit hot. You do not want to get into the tube. But yeah, you do enjoy it. I think past 28, 29 degrees, it gets a bit unbearable. But overall, I do enjoy it, yeah.
In other news, a new report is warning the UK is facing an economic catastrophe unless it adapts to a generation rewired by smartphones. Former Minister Alan Milburn's review, to be released next week, examines why almost 1 million 16 to 24-year-olds are not in employment, education or training. It is expected to blame smartphones and social media for rising levels of anxiety and depression. Speaking to The Times, he rejected claims that young people are snowflakes and said the country is at risk of writing off a whole generation. And at least 90 people have been killed in an explosion at a mine in the Jiangxi province in northern China, with officials warning that number is expected to rise. Chinese state media reports 247 workers were on site when the gas explosion occurred. President Xi Jinping has urged authorities to spare no effort in treating the injured and in the search and rescue mission, and ordered an investigation into the cause. Those are the latest headlines for now. It's back to Nana.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good afternoon and welcome to GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. It's fast approaching, well, it's just gone 6 minutes after 3 o'clock. I'm Nana Akua. Now, coming up, the sun is out and, of course, the boats are on their way. 400 illegal migrants arrived in Britain yesterday and over 50 illegal migrants have already arrived today, with a third dinghy on the way. I mean, you'd think that we could actually do something about it rather than just report it to you, but, of course, we'll be bringing you the latest updates on this developing story as and when. Then in the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, do you believe that any party can fix the small boat crisis? Labour and the Conservatives have tried and failed. It seems that no matter who is in Downing Street, the boats will keep coming. So will Reform UK be any different? So in the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, do you believe that any party can fix the small boats crisis? Then in the next Great British Debate, I'm asking, is Britain addicted to migration? A shocking new study has revealed that a decade after Brexit, foreigners are more important in the workforce than ever. So, are we actually addicted to this? And there's a Trump wedding. Donald Trump Jr. ties the knot at a private island in the Caribbean. But was his dad there? And that's the question. I'll be joined by journalist Daphne Barak. Right, well, all of that is on the way. As ever, send me your thoughts, post your comments, gbnews.com/your say, or you can scan that QR code right now, just before it disappears. You'd have to be very quick on that one, wouldn't you? Right, so I shouldn't be finding this amusing at all. I'm not finding it amusing, to be fair, because a third migrant dinghy is in the English Channel, in French waters, now making its way slowly and steadily towards this country. 83 small boat migrants have arrived in Dover so far today. That takes the total to about 162. That's just today. That's according to a GB News provisional figure. Now, GB News' national reporter Will Godley has been in Dover, and here's the latest.
Well, it's been a hot day here in Dover. Not only beautiful weather here, but also perfect conditions for small boats to cross the channel. And 2 today have made the journey, and 162 small boat migrants have arrived here in Dover, according to GB News provisional figures. The first boatload of small boat migrants arrived just after 11 o'clock this morning. Now, they were picked up on board a Border Force vessel, the Border Force Ranger vessel, just after 10 o'clock in the morning at the halfway mark of the English Channel, halfway between France and the UK. The small boat set off just after 8 o'clock this morning from Gravelines in France. There was 79 people on board, and it took about 2 hours for them to make the journey from the French coastline to halfway in the English Channel between France and England. That's when they were picked up by that Border Force boat, arriving here for processing. Now, the second boat took a much more interesting route to get here, because that boat set off in the early hours of the morning from Belgium, travelling down the Belgian and French coastline before going into the shallows at a beach in Dunkirk, with those wanting to board it having to wade out into the shallows and jumping on board. Now, that boat set off from there around 6 o'clock in the morning and took a much longer time in order to get to that halfway mark in the channel, where it would be picked up by British Border Force vessels. Took just over 6 hours for that boat to make the journey, whether it was because the engine was less powerful, more people on board, or perhaps the winds were stronger. We don't know why, but definitely took it a lot longer, escorted by the French Navy, as the first boat was as well. That boat picked up in the Channel just after midday before then being escorted, before those migrants then picked up, boarded that Border Force vessel before then they arrived here early this afternoon. 83 people on board that boat, taking the total today to 162. But of course, that comes after just under 400 yesterday. 394 people arrived here on 6 small boats yesterday, but that was after just under 2 weeks of no crossings whatsoever. And up until this weekend, the numbers of small boat migrant arrivals had fallen drastically, down by 44% compared to the year before, and that's down by 23% compared to 2024. Now, the government would say their plan is working. That deal with the French cracking down on small boats making the journey, experts say it could be down to the provision of small boat parts, it could be down to migration patterns in Europe, and also the weather, along with government policy, which is what drives the small boat numbers. But one thing's for certain, with 162 arriving today, it will cause a headache for those in the Home Office, but by no means we're not seeing what we see on the busiest days of Channel crossings, when the numbers are over 1,000. That hasn't been seen today. Today, 162 across the Channel, according to our GB News provisional figures.
Wow, and of course we'll keep an eye on that and keep you updated. I don't know whether any of the others are covering it, but I think they should be. Well, joining us now is a senior researcher at the Migration Observatory, Dr. Peter Walsh. Peter, OK, so what are your thoughts on this particular situation that we find ourselves in?
Well, I think just looking over the numbers that have arrived in the past few days, in some senses there's no surprise, right? I mean, we've seen a lull over the past 2 weeks when the weather was worse. We did have stronger winds, higher waves, and of course there are thousands of people in northern France waiting to make this journey, and the smugglers just wait until the weather is good, and that's when we see these big spikes in increases in crossings.
But why is it that it doesn't seem like we can do anything? All we can do is observe, then say how many, then accept them in, and then none of them leave, pretty much.
There's a few reasons. I mean, some are just the challenges of disrupting the smuggling gangs. It takes a lot of resource to arrest a low-level smuggler. They can quite quickly be replaced. Then you have the senior figures who are operating in jurisdictions far beyond our control in countries like Iraq. The thing that France identifies is the very long stretch of coastline, which does make it difficult to police. And then also France faces some of the same challenges we do. You know, they often boast about the tens of thousands of preventions, but in reality, often those individuals are not detained. They're not able to be removed because they come from countries like Afghanistan and Iran. And so in effect, they're free to try again. The thing that evidence shows really does work, of course, is from the Australian example, where what they did was physically intercepting boats in the water and returning them to countries of departure with their permission. And here, of course, we've reached an impasse with the French view being that it would just be too dangerous for them to intercept boats and bring them back to France.
So it's too dangerous, really? I mean, I find that this country is beginning to look even more and more pathetic. The fact that we don't appear to want to, or don't seem to do anything about it. We can tell you how many people are on the boats, but we don't appear to have any power to do anything at all with that, within our own waters, in our own country. I think it's absolutely shocking. I don't know the answer. I know what I would be doing, but apparently I can't do that. Apparently we can't turn the boats back. People say it's too dangerous. I mean, they could just get on board another vessel and just send them back the other way. It doesn't matter. We take them on a vessel and bring them this way. Let's just carry on going that way. But you're saying that we have to have the permission of the French. I just think, do we? I mean, what would happen if we actually just got them, put them on the boat and then drove them back to France?
It's a great question. It's a great question. Probably we would be able to do that. Now, there are some lawyers who say that under international law, that would technically be classed as an invasion of France, that France wouldn't see it as that. But of course, you could imagine perhaps the diplomatic and political fallout that might result if we were to do that.
Really? They don't like us anyway. We've given them over 600 million last year. They've admitted that they didn't really do much with that at all, and it didn't really help at all. So I don't think we could make anything much worse by simply just intervening and saying, nah, enough's enough. What is honestly going to happen to us? What will France do? Will they try and invade the UK? Of course they won't. So if we send the boats back, turn them around, get them on there, properly done, properly, professionally, carefully, and take these people back to France and tell them to get off, and then we go back. What will the French honestly do? What can they do?
Yeah, the main barriers there are international law, and it comes down to diplomatic relations with France.
But so what? So what? A lot of people don't listen to international law, or they cherry-pick the bits that work for them. And a lot of people would say that international law isn't actually really one thing. It's just a selection of treaties that people choose which one they're going to take and do a bit here and a bit there. What would really honestly happen to us if we did that?
There's certainly some truth to that. I mean, international law, there's often no global police officer to enforce it. There is another approach to this, which is that proposed by Reform, which is actually pulling us out of these treaties, pulling us out of the Refugee Convention. And then the one challenge that they would have to meet is where to remove these individuals to. If not dumping them on French shores, then it would have to be a safe third country, a la Rwanda. We know the challenges involved with that, but that would actually be the other policy course.
I just think that we're being a bit pathetic, I really do. I would be tempted to do the thing where they get on the boat. Instead of them, because all the migrants will get on the boat because they think they're coming to the UK, then I would just turn it back and go straight to France. And I reckon if I did that for about a week, that would be the end of it, you see, Peter. That's what I'm saying. If you don't need to do it forever. You just need to do it for a short enough time to disrupt the strugglers' model where they realise, and people realise that they're not going to get in, so they're not going to pay these people.
And you'll recall that was the argument that was made about Rwanda. You know, as long as we send to Rwanda a sufficiently large share of people coming to the UK, in other words, rendering their attempts, which are expensive, to come to the UK futile, then we actually wouldn't need to sustain it for all that long on some accounts. It just has to be a sufficiently high share of individuals whose attempts to stay in the UK are foiled.
And very quickly, Peter, because I do have to go, but do you see any government for any party being able to actually stop this?
It is a very, very difficult challenge to meet. There may be some headway in bringing us out of all these international treaties and the Refugee Convention. That could send a deterrence message. But then, of course, we have to get really serious on removing individuals. And that's been another challenge that's bedeviled successive governments, getting countries to take back their citizens.
Well, under my rules, they wouldn't even get in, because I would challenge the French and I would see what they're going to do about it. And I suspect they might then eventually go, perhaps we should deal with this. And if we make it difficult for them even to come to France, then that'll be the end of it, if they worked with us. But they're not going to. So I would just get on with it. Peter Walsh, thank you very much. He is the Senior Researcher for the Migration Observatory. Now, I know I've made it sound really simplistic, but to me, I think it is. But what do you think? gbnews.com/, you'll say, we can't simply just watch and observe as another boat comes along. Oh, there's 53 in that one. Oh, there's 90 in that one. Really? Well, where are they going to live? Who's going to pay for them? Guess what? It's us, isn't it? Well, now, if you thought that summer had arrived early, you're absolutely right. Of course, the dinghies are here, but also Britain is set for a scorching bank holiday weekend. I'm very excited to say that I'll actually have one day off where I'll be able to enjoy it, with temperatures climbing into the low 30s and some experts warning that Monday could become the hottest May day ever recorded in the UK. Really? Amber heat alerts are now in place as millions prepare for a proper sun-soaked getaway weekend. GBNews' Tara Goodsell has been asking members of the public how they're enjoying the sun.
Really enjoying it. Feels like I'm on my summer holidays.
I won't be out and about too much, I'll be honest with you.
You don't like the sun?
I'm not a big lover of the heat.
I've got water with me and I've got suntan lotion, so yeah, I think it's fine.
It probably will be too hot later, yes. And then we'll just have to retire to a bar and stay there for the rest of the evening.
Seychelles, really? I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it does get a bit hot. You do not want to get into the tube. But yeah, you do enjoy it. I think past 28, 29 degrees, it gets a bit unbearable. But overall, I do enjoy it, yeah.
It's not hot enough. I love the heat. I do my hot yoga and it's beautiful. Right, well, joining me, weather journalist Nathan Rayo. Nathan, this is great, isn't it? A lot of people will say, oh, global warming. What's wrong if it warms up like this? I'm quite happy with it.
I'm 100% with you, Nana. I can't get it hot enough. And as you said, it's the first summer heat wave of the year. It's not even summer yet. It's still spring. But certainly this weekend, we're going to see temperatures in the 30s. They're talking about 33 tomorrow and possibly Monday, which would be a record. The record is 32.8. So I say get out and enjoy it. Or as that lady said, spend the evening in a bar, because this is perfect weather. Usually when I'm on your show on a bank holiday and at the beginning of half term, I'm talking about storms and cold weather. And we've got the best weather that we wait all year for. So a beautiful bank holiday ahead with lovely warm temperatures. So get out and enjoy it.
And it's just the timing is excellent, because the timing is usually very, very bad. But this time, the timing is spot on. Now, what do you say to all these public health messages? I think, personally, I feel it's a bunch of civil servants who've got nothing better to do, who feel they need to be telling us things that we already know. But what do we need to know about this kind of weather? How should we be keeping ourselves safe?
Right. First of all, I'm going to answer that in two little bites. The first thing is, as I just mentioned, we do spend all year waiting for the warm weather to come, and when it does seem that immediately everyone's warning us not to enjoy it. So I can understand why people get frustrated, as I've seen a lot of commentary in the last couple of days of people getting up frustrated with that. So my first point would be, please do enjoy this lovely weather. We wait so long for it. Now, the warnings that come out, there's a UK Health Security Agency warning, and that's just been increased to amber. And it's really for the elderly and vulnerable and people with health conditions that may suffer under sustained periods of hot weather, which we're going to get for the next few days, to just take extra precautions. And also the other warnings are things like if you're going to the coasts and swimming, just be aware that because we're so early in the year, the sea temperatures are still very low. So the contrast between jumping into the sea in the lovely hot weather is going to be a bit of a shock. So do take note of that if you're going in, if you're dabbling into the sea. But otherwise, it's sensible precautions. If you've got elderly and vulnerable people that suffer with the heat, make sure they don't get overheated by drawing the curtains during the hottest part of the day. Take water with you, stay hydrated, be careful if you're going to open bodies of water, but most importantly, please do enjoy it.
Absolutely. And old people aren't stupid. They know that. They've been on the planet longer than most of us. They could be listening. I think sometimes a lot of the older generation think, they must be rolling their eyes thinking, obviously I'm not going to stick my face out in the sun all afternoon. Of course I'm going to take some water if I can. Of course I'm going to shut the curtains if it's sunny. I think we don't give them enough credit. Thank you very much, Nathan Rayo. Thank you so much. There you go. I mean, yeah, of course you know that. You know that, right? I mean, I don't want to go on about it, really, seriously. All right, it's 22 minutes after 3 o'clock. You're with me. I'm Nana Akua. Still to come on GB News, my niggle. I'll be asking why Labour seem to have no answer other than tax, and then some more tax. Surely there needs to be some growth. But then in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, do you believe any party can fix the small boats crisis? That is next. This is GB News, Britain's #1 news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the cars.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel. Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Right, so it's coming up to 26 minutes after 3 o'clock. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. I'm Nana Akua, and it's time for the Great British Debate this hour. And I'm asking, do you believe that any party can fix the small boat crisis? Labour and Conservatives have tried and both have failed. I mean, the Tories were a disaster, but Labour appeared to be a bit worse. Both promised to stop the boats. One said they'd smash the gangs, but illegal migrants are still arriving in the UK today due to the good weather. I know one of the British people are so disillusioned with politicians. So in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, do you actually believe that any party can fix the small boat crisis? Well, joining me now is broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy and also former Labour advisor Paul Richards. I think it's only fair to come to you, Paul Richards, because it's kind of Labour who are currently in power and they've been talking about smashing the gangs, and we haven't seen any of that. And now they're going to nail bars and vape shops and whatever.
Well, the gangs have been disrupted and there have been prosecutions, and we have done what we need to do with that.
It's not worked, though, has it? It's not stopped the boats, though, has it?
The numbers are slightly better than they were last year, but
Because
it's still
of the weather.
it's still a crisis, and I think no one's underestimating the scale of the crisis. I mean, legal migration, of course, has gone off a cliff. That's so.
Well, that's policies that's set by the Tory party.
Yeah, sure, but I'm just saying, by contrast. So it is this illegal trade that we need to tackle. I think we need to do three things. One, we need to get more out of the French because, as you were saying earlier, they're getting a lot of our money. I'd like to see more action from the French gendarmerie. Second of all, tougher penalties for the smugglers, because it's not the weather, it's these criminal gangs.
What penalty can you give billionaire smugglers?
Well, you need to just make sure that it doesn't matter which end of the trade it is, even just the guys, putting the motors on the boats. They need to be locked up, and they need to see that as disrupted to the point where there's no point doing it.
Where would you put them? There's no room in the prisons.
Well, there would, if there's somebody had committed a crime where there were people smuggling, they'd go to jail, and we would find the room. And the third thing I would definitely see we need to do is to get the processing faster, because I'm glad we're closing down these hotels. I think that's a good thing, but I don't want to see great big camps where people are put there for years on end. So faster processing. People that are supposed to be here get to stay. People that aren't are out.
Well, we say this, but we've been saying this for a long time, and nothing has happened. They're still coming. They're coming today.
They're coming thick and fast now. I mean, 400 yesterday. We've seen, thank heavens for GB News, which is telling the truth. That's why they're the #1 news channel that is telling us what's really going on. It's horrific figures. Let me just give you some of them. 200,000 migrants have crossed the English Channel since 2018, OK? And 87.3% of those are male, and approximately 1.7 million non-UK nationals receiving universal credit. No wonder the economy is falling off a cliff. But don't worry, Keir Starmer said he was going to smash the gangs. Well, the gangs are actually smashing him, and they're smashing his credibility. I think his credibility is about as high as Lee Andrews, who's Katie Price's husband.
I wonder where he is.
Yes, we wonder.
I really like Katie Price, and I'm not going to laugh because I think I feel very sad for her. But come on, love. I mean, that guy, where is he?
Well, it's like, where's Wally? But maybe Keir Starmer should go and hide, because the track record, he's leaving our borders open and people have had enough. We're only a small island and we're bursting at the seams.
Paul, there's lots of go out there, isn't it? I mean, first of all, prosecutions are up. I think these numbers are slightly down, not denying the scale of the crisis. Legal migration is dwindled away to virtually nothing.
The
Tories, the Tories would have killed for these kind of numbers.
David Cameron
would have given his right arm for these numbers.
Paul, I'm going to stop you there for you even mentioning it and trying to take any modicum of credit for that. Don't, because it's not down to Labour policies. It's down to what it's down to what the Conservatives put in place. Now you are reaping the benefits. Now that's fine.
You can't have it both ways, though. What's going on is
you can't have it both ways.
You can't blame us for what's happening now and say it's down to the... And when it's good, you say it's the Tories.
I'm not blaming you. I'm asking you a question. Can any of these parties do it? And that includes the Tories.
Well, I think the approach we've adopted is the right one, but we need to do more of it and the things I've described. But what I would say to both of you is that if there was a single, simple solution to this, why doesn't any government do it, of whatever stripe? Nobody wants this crisis. It's to nobody's advantage, either politically, economically or socially. So if there was one thing we could do, why don't we do it?
But why is this government...
Tell us what it is.
This government can see...
But they'd just come back, wouldn't they? Because the gangs would keep coming on. We know when people are turned back, they just have another go, a third go. Sorry, go on, Lizzie.
Can we be honest about this government? We can all see that the French haven't even got their feet wet. Why are we giving them more and more money? We've just done this, £1 million new deal with them.
I said was we need to get the
and we are
money's worth.
still giving. We're not learning. This government doesn't seem to realise or read the room and know what it's doing. I'm afraid giving to the French isn't working. But there's no deterrent. Why get rid of Rwanda? There's no deterrent. They keep coming over. And these are criminals. These gangs are criminals, and they're one step ahead of this government every single time.
I would say that the Belgians are doing better than the French, which I named the French specifically. I said that the French need to do more, because actually I think they are sitting on their hands. Rwanda was an expensive disaster, costed the taxpayer millions for zero
We weren't even allowed to try. It was a
deterrent. It was a gimmick.
It would be a deterrent.
No, it wouldn't have done.
Why would it be? Sorry, Paul. Why was it a gimmick? A third country where you can send people, and it could have been adapted. The Labour Party could have taken it without taking all the blame for it. Why now the Labour Party are actually looking for third countries to put people in? Why is it a gimmick?
Because it was incredibly expensive. Nobody left the country. More Home Secretaries went to visit Rwanda than any illegal migrants.
It hadn't been implemented probably by the time.
An absolute nonsense.
Other countries now are taking that on board. And what about our Home Office? They've been exposed of not knowing where 53,000 illegals have actually gone. They don't know. They've just gone and vanished. I mean, it is a shambolic mess. And Keir Starmer, he kept saying smash the gangs. He's not saying that anymore, is he? Because he knows he hasn't got a clue of what he's doing.
Why can't they just... And I said this, I put this to the gentleman I spoke to earlier. Why can't they just turn the boats back? Well, no, put them on the boat that they would normally come in, and instead of turning the boat around to come back to the UK, go back to France, drop them off, and then come back to the UK. Now, I think that if we did that, what will the French actually do to us if we do that? What will they do?
Well, it's not the French. It's the people smuggling gangs. Their business model is
will be destroyed.
They take the fee off the migrant, right?
I know that.
And then they say we will try and get you to the UK by any means, as many times as it takes. So they'll just put them on another boat and they'll keep going, and they get the fee for keeping on going as many times as it takes. Because some of them do get turned back.
See, that's not.
And you see the same people twice.
Yes,
three times.
That's with the one in, one out. So we know they're coming back.
That's why it won't work.
No.
Oh, the one in, one out. I mean, the one in, one out. Another example. I mean, what a merry-go-round fiasco that was. More money wasted. I'm afraid this government hasn't got a backbone. This government doesn't know what it's doing. And smash the gangs. He couldn't even smash the top of his boiled egg.
All right. Well, listen. I'm going to say that I don't think your answer was good enough when I said, you know, what are the French going to do about it if we do that? I don't think your answer was good enough, because what will they do about it? Don't say, oh well, because the smugglers will just keep sending them back.
Well,
no, it'll destroy the model if the people believe they're going to be sent back. Yes, it would.
That's an example.
You should try it. You should try it, because the Australians did and it worked. Right. See, he's quiet now. You're with me. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News. Still to come in my niggle, I'll be giving you my take on Labour promising more and more new taxes. But next, in the second Great British Debate, I'm asking, is Britain addicted to migration? First, your latest news headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Nana, thank you. The top stories: 162 migrants have arrived into Dover on Border Force vessels today after they set off on small dinghies this morning. We now know that there's a third dinghy in the English Channel. It's making slow but steady progress towards the UK. The boat set off from a beach south of Boulogne. As tens of thousands of people get away for the bank holiday weekend, French authorities have reportedly suspended new EU border checks at the port of Dover. After delays reached up to 5 hours, traffic is now moving again. It comes as a heat wave hits the UK, with temperatures expected to be hotter than the Seychelles today, with highs of 30 degrees in the south of England. At least 90 people have been killed in an explosion at a coal mine in the Shaanxi province in northern China, with officials warning that number is expected to rise. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. More at 4 o'clock.
Hello there, a very good afternoon to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. If you are out and about this weekend, do remember that sun cream, because there will be high levels of UV for many of us, courtesy of the plentiful amounts of sunshine we'll be seeing underneath this area of high pressure that's going to be in play across broad swathes of the UK. And even into this evening, we'll continue to see some late sunny spells across particularly areas of England and Wales, and generally those clear spells persisting right throughout the night. A few mist and fog patches can't be ruled out in places as we head into the back end of the night, but they'll clear off pretty quickly once dawn arrives. Temperatures in rural areas tonight may drop down into single figures, so a little fresh for some of us, but towns and cities generally holding up in double-digit figures, so a milder start to Sunday here. We do have this cloud draped across the far northwest of Scotland, and this is bringing some outbreaks of rain, particularly to the highlands, and it may become a bit more persistent in places as we start off Sunday morning, a bit of a damp one here, but some sunshine emerging for eastern Scotland, parts of southern Scotland and into eastern Northern Ireland as well. Really, for much of England and Wales, Sunday promises almost wall-to-wall blue skies. There will be some fair weather cloud bubbling up in places, but plenty of fine, dry conditions if you are wanting to step outside. Remember, again, those UV levels will be high, but also the pollen levels are picking up for those hay fever sufferers. If you want to escape some of the heat that we are seeing, coastal areas will be a touch fresher, but sea surface temperatures at this time of the year are still relatively low, so do be prepared for a little bit of a shock when you take a dip. But inland, temperatures peaking at around 31 degrees Celsius in parts of the southeast. Quite rare to be seeing those sorts of values at this point in May. Things staying fine, though, as we head into Sunday evening, and this rain in the far north will continue to move away. So even as we head into bank holiday Monday, it's now pretty much wall-to-wall blue sunshine for most of us, and those temperatures actually peaking on Monday, potentially one of our hottest bank holidays on record. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back. Oh, am I in or am I out? Oh, there you go, I'm here. Welcome back. You're with me. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. It's 38 minutes after 3 o'clock now. I know it's hot out there, but you've come indoors because it's too hot, and especially if you're old, you've been told what to do. If you're old, they know what to do. They've been here longer than most of us. Right now, though, it's time for the Great British Debate this hour, and I'm asking, is Britain addicted to migration? I mean, I'm a migrant, I guess, or descendant from a migrant. I was born in Newcastle. I'm a Geordie, but, you know, new figures from the Office of National Statistics show that more than 1 in 5 workers are now foreign-born, a record high of 22.4%. So a decade after Brexit, the UK is still more reliant on foreign labour than ever before. So are we actually, as a country, addicted to migration? Well, joining me now, broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy and former Labour advisor Paul Richards. All right, Lizzie Cundy, what do you think?
Well, no, I don't think we are addicted, but I think people are getting sick to death of it with the small boats, because that's all we're hearing every day in the news. More coming over, as we're seeing today, as we saw yesterday, and it's depending on the weather. You know, if we have lovely weather, we know we're going to get hundreds more over. And I think this is the key issue. Whenever I'm out, it's all people talk about.
Yeah.
I think that's why Labour did so appallingly in the by-elections, and that's why people are voting and wanting reform to be in government, because people are sick of spending so much money of their taxpayers' money, and this problem keeps going on and on and on, and people are sick of it, Nana.
Do you think we're addicted to migration, Paul Richards?
Well, I mean, our national story is one of migration, isn't it? I mean, the whole nation is derived from, whether it's Romans or Danes or Jews or Irish or people from the Commonwealth or whatever it might be. You know, we are all ultimately, migrants. The question is whether you have a managed, safe process of migration that's good for the economy. I would argue that the Boris wave probably brought too many migrant labourers into the country, and it made the question then of how you skill the indigenous workforce to be less of a question. So I would want more of an emphasis on apprenticeships and more training, so we can do those jobs ourselves, not necessarily bring in Polish plumbers or whatever it might be. And you do need a managed process. But, we are utterly reliant on it. Look at social care, for example. Look at the National Health Service.
But we know why that is, though, don't we, Paul?
Why do we know?
Well, we do know,
don't
we? Well, we pay absolutely shockingly bad wages to the people who... So the reason why we can afford these things, which actually should be affordable by paying a normal wage, is so that we can pay low wages to people coming from other countries.
Well, that's why you need a national minimum wage, to make sure people can't undercut wages. Of course, and I'm a trade unionist. I don't want to see wages undercut.
But that's the problem, isn't it? That's why we had Brexit, because we were sick and tired of having people come in undercutting wages because of the mass migration, in particular from the EU.
But that's illegal. And
no, from the EU. It was legal migration from the EU.
I mean, it's illegal to undercut legally bound national minimum wages.
Well, I don't think anyone cared about that.
Well, that should be enforced, because that is a rule that I really would support. Minimum wages are a good thing in the economy, but it's a balance, isn't it? Like all these things. I don't want to sound terribly reasonable, but you want some people to come here and do certain jobs, and then you want safe borders. So
we haven't got what we haven't got. We've got, we're seeing today. We've got open borders.
You're confusing two things, Lizzie. You're talking about illegal and legal migration.
But we've got 1.7 million non-UK nationals receiving universal credit. I mean, really, that is outrageous.
They might be in work.
Yeah, but so what? Work should pay.
There we are again. Yeah,
but
that's why we have minimum wages.
Yeah, but why should you pay somebody who's come from another country enough money so they can live in this country, and that money is topped up by the taxpayer? Why should we, as taxpayers, pay somebody?
You should ask employers that, because that's their fault if they're not paying enough people to live.
Not really. It's
particularly in London.
The government
ask landlords that in London.
Don't bring landlords into this. Why are governments enabling this by topping up the wages, so that we, as a taxpayer, are paying for people who are foreign nationals?
Well, because forever, since the Industrial Revolution onwards, probably, we've needed foreign labour to fuel our economy.
Yes,
whether it's Irish people building the motorways or, West Indians staffing the NHS. This is our history.
No, I'm afraid, look, this government is spending so much on welfare. This is why the economy is falling off a cliff at the minute. Oh, but don't worry, Rachel Reeves, you got £1 off going to the zoo. I mean, I just don't feel this government is realising what is going on in its own country.
Yeah, I think if you kind of look at it, we are addicted. For example, doctors and so on from all other countries, instead of investing more in the people here and giving more doctors' places to the people who come here, we've got plenty of spaces for somebody from another country. And we seem to want this, the care home system, the care structure.
I think that's fair. That's a
Why
fair
not
point.
pay decent wages for the British people to do the job?
And I think when you're looking at something like the National Health Service, you can, I think, tilt the balance back towards training more doctors here. But the problem is people want the lower waiting list. They want to see get their hips fixed or their eyes fixed antibiotics and they want to see a doctor quick. So what we do is we backfill with people from overseas.
Well, why do we have to do that, though? That's ridiculous.
Because of the pressure on the system.
But, you know, you're lucky if you get a doctor's appointment at the minute. You go into a doctor and you can only give one ailment now. You know, and it's like, no, you've only got one thing you can talk to me about. I mean, what is going on with this country?
I was in A&E the other day. It took 2 hours, in and out.
Well, you
no
are very
trouble at all.
lucky. That's very rare,
You know,
I have to say.
a lot of people have quite good experiences now because the waiting times are coming down.
Well, I mean, we can compare. My friend had a 9-hour wait yesterday at Basingstoke Hospital.
Let's see if anyone can match Paul Richards' A&E wait time. Listen, Paul said that he was in A&E waiting for just 2 hours and he was done and dusted. Let me know, gbnews.com/your say, if you have been to A&E and it has taken you 2 hours or less.
And it was Eastbourne Hospital. It's a genuine case. I'm not making this up.
He's saying this.
In and out 2
That's
hours.
what he was saying.
So if you're ill, go to Eastbourne.
That won't happen again now, he said that. But seriously, I'd love to hear from you if you have had a wait time. Let me know how long your wait time was at A&E, because I've never heard anybody only have 2 hours. I've never, ever heard that. That's the first time I've ever heard it.
It's getting better. It really is getting better.
Is that because a lot of people are dead on the waiting list from waiting?
No, it's because of taxes, I'm afraid, and that's what we're about to talk about.
No, it's not because of taxes.
It's
because
we're putting investment into the health service.
It's because when Wes Streeting was Health Secretary, he paid trusts $3 million to update the waiting list, and a lot of people had died waiting. Others had gone private, and some people are just plain giving up. There you go. That's why. All right, well, listen, I'd love to hear from you, though. gbnews.com/your say, your wait time at A&E. But if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
A lot of sunny and hot weather across the Med and Western Europe at the moment, especially for Spain and France. Very showery, however, with low pressure close to Greece and Turkey. Long spells of rain for Turkey. Greek islands mostly sheltered from the showers, but heavy downpours for mainland Greece. 1 or 2 showers for Italy, but we come to Iberia and France, and it's unusually hot and sunny during the next few days. Temperatures peaking in France into the mid to high 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Unbelievable thing you've done. How are you?
I'm absolutely exhausted.
I bet you are.
Yeah.
I don't know how you got in here today, frankly. But you know what I really love, and this is the thing that inspires everybody, because everybody gets inspired when they see the marathon on TV. I was driving along on Sunday, and honestly, I counted 30 runners out on the streets, which you would never normally see. Now, you have never been a constant runner, someone that's always been out there on the street, because you went from nothing to do this, is that right?
I was not even a sports fan, so unlike you, big Spurs fan, I know, but I was unfit, not into sports at all. I turned 40 2 years ago. It's my birthday next week. And thank you. And I decided to do this charity challenge. So actually, it will be my 2-year running anniversary in May.
Right, now I don't even get how you suddenly go, you know what, I'm going to be this, let's run across India, let's do 100 marathons, because do you start with literally like the old counts to 5K and then we move on and then move on and move on?
Yeah, definitely started with 5K runs, and obviously that massively grew. Totally. But yeah, the run across India, it was basically from the Pakistan border, and then I ran east and then kind of down to the centre and then to the east to the Bengal border, which was 100 marathon distance in 100 days. And it was along something called the Old Inland Customs Line.
Was this... I was talking to Simon Calder just now, because we had Simon Calder in here, wasn't he, talking about holidays?
Travel correspondent.
And I was saying, I'm going off slightly on one, but he was saying, well, you know, because I'm going to fly to India before I go on a holiday somewhere else, and then he said, well, you need to get a visa. Is it easy just to go to India and just say, I'm going to run across your country now?
It's not. My father was actually born in India and born in Calcutta, which is why...
is this the reason you chose India?
It's one of the reasons I chose India.
Right. GB News, the People's Channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Welcome back. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. Now, President Donald Trump's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., and his fiancée, Bettina Anderson, reportedly are due to get married actually today on a private island in the Bahamas. President Trump is not expected to attend. Interesting. On Thursday, he said that he would try and make it, but had to focus on Iran and other things, really. Well, I'm joined now by journalist and author Daphne Barak. She has the inside scoop. Daphne has interviewed some incredible people, right? Just briefly tell us some of the people that you've interviewed.
Oh, my gosh. Michael Jackson, Yasser Arafat, Amy Winehouse, Britney Spears' kids,
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela, Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell, only interviewed in jail. So many.
So many. Now, so great to get you here on GB News. Very good to get you in the studio as well, because I feel like I actually know you. So talk to me about this particular wedding, because why is Donald Trump not going?
Well, I think it's actually security. I mean, as an event, and Don Jr. is a very close friend of Bill, my husband, and I. Actually, we match-made him with Kimberly Guilfoyle in 2018, and that didn't work. He left her 2 years ago. And he told me that Bettina is the love of his life. We are very close to Don. We're going to see him in a few days in Europe after the wedding, and we're going to interview him for GB News.
That's going to be amazing.
I know. So he's a lovely guy. He's madly in love. What I'm thinking is that, of course, we have the Iran situation, and Donald Trump is very, very affected by what the media says, and if suddenly we'll go to the Bahamas, when there's a war pending in Iran, it's bad. Also, I know Don told me he wanted a small wedding and then a bigger wedding. And, bringing the President of the United States with 3 assassination attempts in the record will not be really an intimate wedding. I wouldn't read anything I've heard people saying he doesn't love his son. It's completely not true. He loves her and he loves Bettina. And he's very happy for them.
So what's he like? Because to me, Donald Trump seems like a really nice, funny... I think he's hilarious. I think he's got a great sense of humour. And I think he's a real family guy.
Donald Trump likes the idea to like the royal family. He wants the Trumps to be like the dynasty. Like in America, we had it maybe the Bush family. We didn't have it too many times. He's definitely building it. He has a fantastic sense of humour, but he also has tantrums.
Oh, I can imagine.
He has tantrums, yeah, exactly. And he's a big man. I mean, you understand, you and I are tiny. When he's exploding, it's like, and never on me. He's very nice to me. But when I saw him several times exploding, and it's a big thing. So, I mean, the one thing about him, he's not scripted. So what you see is what you get. He's not fake.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the authenticity is very attractive to the viewer and to the public, because we want people who are authentic. I mean, you've seen Keir Starmer. We won't go into that because we'll be here for a while. But what about, now, you also interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell, and at the moment, Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is going through a lot at the moment, isn't he? What can you tell us?
Well, first of all, Ghislaine has a big problem right now because she's trying to get pardoning, Nana, and Donald Trump is going to give 250 pardoning for the U.S. birthday. And she's trying to get us this list. And she's a hot potato. You understand that? I think that it's very weird that we have only one person in jail. I'm sorry. I mean, she did terrible things, but she's paid so costly. And where are the others? It's just a question. I know Donald likes her. Whether he will pardon her among the 250, I don't think so, because it's too hot potato before November midterms. Afterwards, a different story. But again, I have a big problem that we have only one person in jail, and it's a woman.
So very briefly, when is your interview then with Don Jr.?
We're going to do it on June 4th.
Oh, well, we look forward to hearing.
Right, very romantic, you know. And by the way, he's a very, very different than when people say. He's very considering, he's a good friend. People say I'm a best friend anybody could have. I had a bad mood a few weeks ago, and he was actually flying from Serbia or something, and he made sure that I'm very happy. And until I send him the photos that I'm happy, he was like...
Well, Daphne Barrack, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for coming in. Stay with me, because up next is my niggle. I'll be asking, why are Labour addicted to taxation? But first, an update with your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, a very good afternoon to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. If you are out and about this weekend, do remember that sun cream, because there will be high levels of UV for many of us, courtesy of the plentiful amounts of sunshine we'll be seeing underneath this area of high pressure that's going to be in play across broad swathes of the UK. And even into this evening, we'll continue to see some late sunny spells across particularly areas of England and Wales, and generally those clear spells persisting right throughout the night. A few mist and fog patches can't be ruled out in places as we head into the back end of the night, but they'll clear off pretty quickly once dawn arrives. Temperatures in rural areas tonight may drop down into single figures, so a little fresh for some of us, but towns and cities generally holding up in double-digit figures, so a milder start to Sunday here. We do have this cloud draped across the far northwest of Scotland, and this is bringing some outbreaks of rain, particularly to the highlands, and it may become a bit more persistent in places as we start off Sunday morning, a bit of a damp one here, but some sunshine emerging for eastern Scotland, parts of southern Scotland, and into eastern Northern Ireland as well. Really, for much of England and Wales, Sunday promises almost wall-to-wall blue skies. There will be some fair weather cloud bubbling up in places, but plenty of fine, dry conditions if you are wanting to step outside. Remember, again, those UV levels will be high, but also the pollen levels are picking up for those hay fever sufferers. If you want to escape some of the heat that we are seeing, coastal areas will be a touch fresher, but sea surface temperatures at this time of the year are still relatively low, so do be prepared for a little bit of a shock when you take a dip. But inland, temperatures peaking at around 31 degrees Celsius in parts of the southeast. Quite rare to be seeing those sorts of values at this point in May. Things staying fine, though, as we head into Sunday evening, and this rain in the far north will continue to move away. So even as we head into Bank Holiday Monday, it's now pretty much wall-to-wall blue sunshine for most of us, and those temperatures actually peaking on Monday, potentially one of our hottest bank holidays on record. Enjoy your day.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
£76,543 and 21 pence in tax-free cash could be yours this summer. That's totally tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. And remember, because it's totally tax-free cash, you'll get to keep every single penny. For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because
because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. We can allow.
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversations.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to GB News. We're live on TV, online, and on digital radio. It's 4 o'clock. I'm Nana Akua, and for the next few hours, me and my panel will be taking on some of the big topics hitting the headlines right now. This show is all about opinion. It's mine, it's theirs, and of course, it's yours. We'll be debating, discussing, and at times we will disagree, but no one will be cancelled. So joining me for the next few hours, broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy, and also former Labour advisor Paul Richards. Coming up in my niggle.
National insurance, up. Capital gains tax, up. Inheritance tax, up. Energy taxes, up. Business rates, up.
Yeah, he had a point, didn't he? Tax, tax, more tax, and that's Labour's answer to pretty much everything. Well, I'll be giving you my view in my niggle. Then later on in the show.
Here today to have a good look at my own blood, have a good look at whether there's anything there that could suggest that I could change my lifestyle or change a habit or even take some medication.
So earlier in the year, I got my blood tested for cancers, and the results are in. People keep asking me what were the results, so I'll be joined by Dr. Amer Khan, and I'll share those with you. Stay tuned. Then difficult conversations in the studio. Kira Ruddock, who's currently serving as the People's Deputy in Ukraine and is the leader of the Holos Party. Now, she'll be joining us to discuss the latest news from the war, and we'll be asking her, well, what is next for the country? And in the later Greater British debate, it's been reported that UK officials suggested establishing a single market for goods trade with the EU as part of the next phase of its Brexit reset. So basically, going back into the EU. But actually, they said no. I'll be asking if Britain's proud legacy is being betrayed. My pod is live on gbnews.com, asking you that very question. Please cast your vote. But before we get started, your latest news with Tatiana Sanchez.
Nana, thank you. The top stories. 162 migrants have arrived in Dover on Border Force vessels today after they set off on small dinghies this morning. We now know that there's a third dinghy in the English Channel. It's making slow but steady progress towards the UK. The boat set off from a beach south of Boulogne. A surge in Channel crossings is expected this weekend as a heat wave hits the UK. 400 migrants were recorded making the journey yesterday. GB News' national reporter Will Godley has more.
One set off from France at 8 o'clock this morning. The other set off from Belgium in the early hours before then arriving in Dunkirk around 6 o'clock in the morning. Both boats linked up with Border Force vessels at the halfway point of the English Channel. Before then, Border Force officers brought them in here for processing. Our provisional figures show there were 162 people on board these two boats. But with this warm weather and calm winds continuing, no doubt people smugglers want to take advantage of the weather. More crossings could continue this bank holiday weekend.
French authorities have suspended the new EU border checks at the port of Dover after delays reached up to 5 hours. It comes as tens of thousands of holidaymakers try to cross the English Channel for the bank holiday weekend. The port is allowing anyone who missed their ferry crossing because of queues to travel on the next available slot free of charge. Meanwhile, temperatures could be higher than the Seychelles today, with highs of 30 degrees expected in the south of England. Britain's also forecast to see its hottest May day on record on Monday, with temperatures reaching 33 degrees across the south and the Midlands. The UK Health Security Agency has issued amber heat health alerts for the Midlands, the east and southeast of England and London until Wednesday evening. With those aged 65 and over at risk, GB News' Tara Goodsell spoke to people in the capital about how they're enjoying the weather.
Really enjoy it. I mean, we don't get it very often, do we? So we've got to make the most of it.
I won't be out and about too much, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big lover of the heat.
I've got water with me and I've got suntan lotion, so yeah, I think it's fine.
It probably will be too hot later, yes. And then we'll just have to retire to a bar and stay there for the rest of the evening.
Seychelles, really? I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it does get a bit hot. You do not want to get into the tube. But yeah, you do enjoy it. I think past 28, 29 degrees, it gets a bit unbearable. But overall, I do enjoy it, yeah.
A new report is warning the UK is facing an economic catastrophe unless it adapts to a generation rewired by smartphones. Former Minister Alan Milburn's review, to be released next week, examines why almost 1 million 16 to 24-year-olds are not in employment, education or training. It's expected to blame smartphones and social media for rising levels of anxiety and depression. Speaking to The Times, he rejected claims that young people are snowflakes and said the country is at risk of writing off a whole generation. And at least 90 people have been killed in an explosion at a coal mine in the Shaanxi province in northern China, with officials warning that number is expected to rise. Chinese state media reports 247 workers were on site when the gas explosion occurred. President Xi Jinping has urged authorities to spare no effort in treating the injured and in the search and rescue mission. He's ordered an investigation into the cause. Those are the latest GB News headlines for now. It's back to Nana.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good afternoon. It's just coming up to 7 minutes after 4 o'clock. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News. We are Britain's #1 news channel. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. Now, if I hear the word tax again, I mean, that's all that this Labour government can think about. Rishi Sunak warned us.
The problem with national insurance is that it is a tax purely on people who go to work and those who employ them. So far from protecting working people, she is literally raising the only major tax that exclusively hits working people. Businesses on the British high street, your taxes are going up. Businesses investing in British energy, your taxes are going up. The small business owner looking to reap the rewards of years spent growing a business and creating jobs, your taxes are going up.
So over the past few days, we've had a cash grab to help badly managed councils balance the books in the form of a tourist tax. So staycations to some of the country's best loved attractions could cost us all as much as, well, £300 or more, as mayors and local leaders across the country take advantage of a new power that they can impose tourist taxes on holidays at home. This week alone, we've had Rachel Reeves apparently planning to introduce a 22% charge on interest earned from cash held in a stocks and shares ISA under her new reforms next April. Remember, they announced that they would reduce your tax-free cash allowance to £12,000 for savers under 65, which was down from £20,000. Why would you do that, I hear you ask? To push you into putting the remainder of your £20,000 allowance, so £8,000, into a stocks and shares ISA, which they plan to tax. It all makes sense now. We heard of a £1 billion stealth tax on flights to push up the cost of your holiday. HMRC apparently drawing up plans as we speak to put 20% VAT on the top of the fees that airports charge airlines to use their runways and their terminals. Of course, that will be passed on to us, the customers, in full. So, for example, at Heathrow, this could add almost a £5 to the current standard charge of around £24. May not sound like much, but the only way is up once they start. Potential leadership contender and former Health Secretary Wes Streeting has proposed introducing a wealth tax that works as part of his Labour leadership pitch by equalising capital gains tax with income tax. But it has been suggested that his approach will kill the AI boom in its tracks and damage investment in Britain. I mean, they can't even leave our food alone, as Labour are expected to impose new taxes on steak and lamb chops in an attempt to dramatically reduce the UK's emissions, while the public could also be asked with cutting their consumption of dairy products by a fifth to meet net zero targets. But of course, none of this has worked. Rachel Reeves's tax raid on home bars has backfired. She lowered the threshold at which stamp duty was paid. The threshold was raised under Liz Truss. Rachel thought that this would mean that she would get more money. Nope. But guess what? People changed their behaviour and stopped buying houses, so Rachel got even less than when the threshold was higher. The VAT raid on private schools, they thought that they'd make a killing, but all they killed off were some very good schools which closed their doors. The kids flooded the state sector, teachers lost their jobs, and supporting businesses lost revenue. Less tax for the exchequer. It's going so badly that instead of perhaps removing or reducing VAT on fuel, which would have an overall beneficial effect and could in fact increase the tax take by helping businesses thrive, Rachel froze the fuel duty for longer and tried to cap supermarket food prices.
I love our country. I love our country. I love our country. And one of the things about our country is good manners.
Yes, I thought I'd cut it before she did the ha in the camera. Andrew Bailey, the Governor of the Bank of England, had to warn our Chancellor against capping supermarket food prices, calling it unsustainable and at risk of backfiring. You see, it wouldn't be so bad if they could at least ensure that the tax they take wasn't spent badly or, in fact, incorrectly calculated, so you end up paying more, like when savers were wrongly ordered to pay thousands of pounds in tax after HMRC was given licence to monitor bank accounts. I mean, on the upside, their official chatbot in their government app, which launched this month with their official plain-speaking AI chatbot designed to answer simple questions, everyday questions like, when should I get my passport renewed? It was actually the app was caught giving tax avoidance advice. I mean, you seriously couldn't make this up. Record numbers of young Britons are fleeing, turning their backs on Sir Keir Starmer and Labour's tax hikes. Who can blame them? Mrs Thatcher was spot on.
Socialism is that you surrender quite a bit of power over your own life to the state. Well, we all do that to some extent, but of course it went much further. You pay very high taxes, and they wish to take even higher taxes because they think that politicians can spend money better than the people can spend it. The more you take away, the less there is for private industry, and that's where the creation of wealth comes.
Well, there you go. I mean, this current government haven't got a clue what it's like to live in the world we inhabit, insulated from their own policy decisions like the effect of the NI hike, which they promised not to raise. The civil service flooded with people who will never leave because of their gold-plated pensions. Good luck getting that lot in the office. The Labour government are simply out of ideas, and the answer to everything is tax. It's simply not good enough. Well, you're with me, I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. Coming up this hour in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, Is Labour overtaxing the country? I mean, it's been revealed that families visiting some of Britain's best tourist spots could face a holiday tax. I mean, is there anything that they won't tax? So in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, is Labour overtaxing the country? Then for the next Great British Debate, I'm asking, should Britain be on a war footing? As the Cypriots raised concern about Britain's ability to protect its bases in Cyprus, and a UK general issues more warnings about Russia. You do wonder if the UK is equipped to defend itself. So do you think, in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, should Britain actually be on a war footing? And earlier in the year, I had my blood tested and the results are in. Dr. Emma Khan will be joining me in the studio to discuss later in the hour. Well, all of that is coming up. As ever, send me your thoughts, your comments. You can scan the QR code right now, gbnews.com/your say. So I'm joined now by political commentator Andy Williams, who I'm sure is going to tell me that I'm talking a load of drivel. Andy Williams, look, I'm sick and tired of reading another tax that they've invented. Another way of taking a couple of pennies or a couple of pounds off you, all of it meant to be, you won't notice it, but all of it adding up, becoming quite substantial and affecting the very people, the working people, they said that they wouldn't tax.
Well, I wasn't going to say drivel, Nana, but I was going to say incoherent ramble. I mean, I respect you and like you very much, but I think that was just like a load of stuff shoved into one big monologue that didn't make any strategic sense whatsoever. You might not like what Labour are doing, but at least have some kind of idea behind what you're saying is the alternative. In terms of this particular tax, this is not a Labour tax. I read this article. This is, the Telegraph, a once great newspaper, which has turned into a ridiculous sort of social media rag, has invented an article that has said that Labour is imposing some kind of holiday tax on people. Every major city in the world, for anybody who travels, would know that if you go to a major city, there will be a small charge, usually about £3 or £4 per night, on your hotel fee, which is a city tax. That is very normal. This is not some kind of big Labour tax grab. Now, what I would say, and where I agree with you, is that are we being taxed too much? Yes. Should we have a wealth tax?
It wasn't all an incoherent babble and drivel, because that was the point of it, really, and so you agree with me?
No, I'm saying I agree with you in some aspects. I didn't say drivel; those were your words.
Well, whatever. I mean, either way. I don't mind either one.
I'm saying I agree with you in part. So should we have a wealth tax? No. Should we be equalising capital gains tax with income tax? No. We need to be incentivising success and reward and risk in this country, and that is where we've gone wrong.
Well,
and I'm currently, I'm in London.
I'm saying, yes.
And I'm in London today, but I'm currently working in America. And in America, where I think they've got a lot of things wrong, one thing they have absolutely right is there is a direct link between hard work and output and risk and success. And that is partly through the tax system. And I think that is where we've gone wrong. But this is not a fair or good example of that. Is Rachel Reeves getting things right from a taxation perspective? No, I don't think she is. What I would say is that you referenced Rishi Sunak at the top of this, right? And I think in a different era, Rishi Sunak potentially could have been quite a good prime minister. He was smart, he was presentable, he was all of these things. He came at the back end of a terrible government, at the back end of 14 years of Tory failure. And unfortunately, he carried the can for that. But Rishi Sunak cut national insurance at a time where that was literally unaffordable. And what we have to balance is what we can afford as a country in terms of tax and spend, and what would be what would be ideal, and what would be ideal if we could blow everything up and start again. That is a different thing compared to what we actually have to do in the circumstances where, frankly, as a nation, we're basically bankrupt. We have to face up to that reality. We have to balance those two things.
So you said that it was whatever, it was a rant, but yet you've agreed with me in principle. I mean, look, Rishi Sunak was wise. He knew that if you cut national insurance, you incentivise employment, and you incentivise people to take on people, and you incentivise jobs, and you start to incentivise growth.
But we couldn't afford
Rachel
it.
Reeves,
I agree.
on the other hand, has increased national insurance and disincentivised employment and disincentivised growth. People don't want to take on staff. They don't want to hire people. And she's even attacking your savings. So now you can't save 20 grand in tax-free cash in your ISA. She's now said you can do 12 grand. So I don't know why you would do that. And the 8 grand that is remaining on your £20,000 allowance, she's saying you can use stocks and shares, which she'll tax you at 22%. I mean, really? Really?
So Nana, they were both wrong. Rishi Sunak was wrong because him and Jeremy Hunt, they could not afford to cut national insurance when they did. That was a political stunt. It's in an ideal world, yes, you would do it, but they couldn't afford it at the time. They should not have done it. That was irresponsible. On the other hand,
it incentivised growth. That's what they were doing.
Well, but we couldn't afford it. On the other hand,
can't afford this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. On the other hand, Labour's decision to increase employee national insurance has been a disaster. We have lost jobs as a result. You can see that in the numbers. That is a fact. They're both wrong. In the short term, what we needed to do is hold fire. Now, I was arguing, and I think on your show before the general election in 2024, I don't think Labour should have made all of these fancy promises on tax. We should have said, we're going to blow up the tax system and start again. We're going to abolish council tax. We're going to abolish stamp duty. We're going to abolish inheritance tax. And not abolish them, but replace them with other, more sensible, more progressive revenue-raising measures. And unfortunately, this government doesn't have the creativity to do that. But what we need is creativity.
I thought you were in support of them. I agree with you. I agree with you.
I voted for Keir Starmer, and I still think on balance that was the right thing to do. And if there was a general election tomorrow with a heavy heart, I would do the same, because I think that the Greens are a complete catastrophe. I think Reform are a disaster that the country would never recover from. The Tories are a joke. The Lib Dems, never mind. You know, it would be with a heavy heart that I would vote Labour, but I'd still vote Labour. We are in no good options land, and I still do not regret it. But I'm not a Labour Party shill. I'm not a Labour Party employee. I've never been employed by the Labour Party. What I'm saying is, Rishi Sunak was wrong to cut it, and Rachel Reeves was wrong to increase it. We are in a really dire, and I will let you speak, Nana. We're in a dire situation We're in a dire situation economically, and we need to face up to that reality. And I will vote for any party who does that in a way that's honest, right? In a way that's honest about the serious challenge we face, but also in a way that's fair.
Right. Well, I would agree with you on that. I don't have any disagreement with that, but I think I made some very salient points. So I don't think my monologue was a load of drivel or whatever you called it. I think you actually agreed with me.
You called it drivel. I said it was incoherent.
Oh, well, I think it was coherent, and I think it's very coherent, and I think you got it now, and I think we agree. So that's good. Thank you very much, Andy. A pleasure to talk to you. You see, I knew he'd come round in the end. Andy Williams, he's a political commentator, sort of agreed with me, even though, I can't remember where he said it was. 20 minutes after 4 o'clock, I'm Nana Akua, still to come in difficult conversations. I'll be speaking with Ukrainian politician Kira Ruddock, and we'll be discussing the latest developments in the Ukraine war. But next, in the Great British Debates, I'm asking, is Labour overtaxing the country? This is GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right.
GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to GB News, 24 minutes after 4 o'clock. If you just tuned in, where have you been? Oh, right in the sun. Oh, OK, fair enough, yeah, I get it. I'll be out there later. I'm Nana Akua, and it's time for the Great British Debate this hour. And I'm asking, is Labour overtaxing this country? Now, Labour says that it wants to give local leaders more powers to raise money, but critics warn that a new tourist tax could make British staycations even more expensive. With families already feeling the squeeze, some are calling it a cash grab that could damage the hospitality industry. And that's not all. I listed a load of other taxes that Rachel Reeves at one point was even talking about taxing food, and that really wasn't going to do. She was trying to limit the amount of tax or whatever it was that food companies could charge. So in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, is Labour overtaxing the country? Well, joining me now, broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy, also former Labour advisor Paul Richards. Paul Richards, Labour advisor, would you advise them to stop taxing? I mean, it's literally everything and anything.
Well, taxes are a subscription to a civilised society, aren't they? And no one likes paying them, but they should be fair and balanced, and people feel like the money they're spending and their tax is going to something which is socially useful, like the health service or education or public parks or police, potholes, all of that stuff. Now, that's what we spend taxes on. The alternative is very low taxes. Everyone has to buy everything privately, and the common good is eroded, and people that are poor don't get the services. That's the alternative.
Low taxes don't necessarily mean bad public services.
But the trickle-down effect doesn't work. That's what we've proved in the 80s and 90s, is if you put, people said, well, if you low tax on the very rich, the money will trickle down somehow. It didn't, did it? We didn't get trickle-down money coming into our pockets. So you have fair taxes for things that we all like parks and beaches and
what about
the NHS and schools?
What about the level of high tax, but the disastrous services? So the NHS is on its knees, as we know.
It's on recovery.
No, Paul,
it's in recovery.
Stop it, because it's on its knees, still on its knees. We pay a fortune into that. That hasn't got much better at all. Outcomes are not very good across this country. We've got the lowest health outcomes in the Western world, as it were. And it's true. Yes, we do. You know that, right? And we spend more per person in our health service than many of the other countries, but we don't get the similar results. So for cancer diagnosis, for example, we are one of the worst in Europe.
Well, there are some people that want to abolish the NHS. Reform UK wants a subscription model where you have to pay into it. And Nigel has said it, and it's on the record, and Google it and you'll see.
Well, okay,
there are
alternative
measures that you can do.
It didn't say abolish.
But I think a universal service, that means everyone benefits it equally, like the National Health Service, is the best way forward. And like I say, no one wants big big taxes, but we do have to invest in things that we all share and enjoy. There's such a thing as the public space.
Paul. Listen,
well, that's another argument. I mean, we want more efficiency. We definitely want more of that, that's for sure.
Nobody minds paying taxes to help everybody else. I'm OK with it. But if I
It's not just everyone else that helps us.
Let me finish.
It's for ourselves
let me finish,
well, isn't it? You know, I enjoy the park. Nana.
Nobody minds paying taxes when the money's being spent reasonably, and we all want to have a safe and comfortable, civilised society. But nobody likes to be paying taxes. And then when they go for something on the NHS, there's no service. When there's no GPs, there's no this, there's... I'm thinking the tax burden is so high, I'm not getting anything out of it at all.
You know, Rachel Reeves, she gives in one hand and taketh away in the other. That's what she does. You know, Rachel Reeves, queen of their CV rewrites. I mean, I literally, when she stands up to speak, I get worried because I know something bad's going to happen. We're getting taxed and taxed and taxed. That is why our highest, you know, people that earn so much money in this country and give back, pay so much in tax, are leaving this country. Our young entrepreneurs, like my son, are leaving the country, went to Australia because they don't see a future here. There isn't any way out. They are taxing and taxing and taxing. They will tax the air they breathe. And now we've got this travel tax, which is absolutely, I think, absolute disgrace, which means there's going to be £340 added to an average staycation, which I find unbelievable of this government. I mean, what are they not going to tax? They told us when they got into government they weren't going to tax the working people. That's all they've done since they got into government. You know, Andy Williams was on. If the government had been truthful what they were going to do, they would have never, ever got into power because no one would have voted for this. You know, how can, you know, she's there saying this, she's going to, you know, we're going to get £1 off going to the zoo when our economy is falling off a cliff. You have to agree here, Paul.
It wasn't just zoos, it was museums as well.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, they're really knowing what's going on in this country, aren't they, Paul?
On the point of rich people leaving, some rich people are leaving, lots of rich people are arriving. Lots of Americans arriving, for example, who are millionaires and billionaires. So there's money coming in as well as going out. On the small amounts on a destination charge, that money will go to revive some of our seaside towns, our tourist destinations. I think we should all be doing more staycations, less flights abroad and more enjoyable holidays here in the UK, put the money back into the local economy. I live in a struggling seaside town. We'd love to see more visitors, especially on a day like today. So that's reasonable. And then you're poo-pooing Rachel saying, well, look, you know, times are tough. Here's a little bit of extra help. Take the kids on a trip, have a treat. Why are you so negative about that? That's a perfectly nice thing to do.
They won't be able to do it. That's why. And you want kids to be out there off their phones. They're not going to be able to because they can't afford it. You put another tax on.
It's a little bit of extra help for struggling families. And your first reaction is to say, oh, no, what a terrible idea. It's not a terrible idea.
It is a terrible idea.
It's a nice thing to do. Why can't you just be nice about it and welcome it?
It is a terrible idea, and I'm afraid Labour are unfit to govern and manage our money because I'm sorry.
Kent Council, where Reform UK are driving all the local authorities into the ground,
let me just tell
resigning, being arrested and causing the council tax going up.
Billions of our taxpayer paying money on illegals in hotels and other things.
Reforming government is a disaster wherever you look, whether it's Kent or Staffordshire or anywhere else. They are messing it up.
Labour are in a chaotic mess. You don't need a resignation. We don't need.
We've seen councillors saying they don't even understand the standing orders.
We don't need another resignation. What we need is a general election. That's what we need.
In the British Constitution, the rules of our Constitution are you're a general election every 4 or 5 years. You don't just trigger a by-election or a general election whenever you feel like it.
But Keir Starmer, even his own party don't want him in, and that's the truth of it. And now, we could have another Prime Minister.
Nobody's put up against him.
And it's just going to cause chaos. We need a general election, and people are sick of being taxed to death. Look what they're doing to the motorist.
Look what they're doing in Kent. Look at Kent. Google Kent reform and you will see
I've just seen Kent. There's a load of illegals coming over.
They are running that local authority into the ground. And they've put the council tax up when they lied and said they weren't going to. And they're resigning because they don't know what the job is of being a councillor. Wherever Reform get a slither of power in our county councils, it is a catastrophe.
But you have to look at why Labour did so awful in the by-elections. Because people are sick and tired of being taxed to death with this high cost of living. They're taking the joy out of life.
Well, I mean, a lot of people getting in touch here. Major says you can throw as much money as you like at the NHS. Money wasted. It needs a clear out from top down. Too many on the bandwagon, not looking after your health. Well, see, this is the problem, isn't it?
Well, that's true. I think I agree with that. We need to take more care of our own health so there's less of a burden on the NHS. No point going to the NHS once you're ill. You know, we should all be
Well, you can't get in, can you? I mean, like, if you go...
taking more care of ourselves, that's fair.
We've got to be honest, the money's going in the wrong places in the NHS and it's a shambolic mess. It really is. And I've got people that work in there that even say it.
But insurance is not the answer.
No, nobody said it was. Now, Peter said... No, he hasn't said that. Please, if you can find the exact quote, find the quote, but he's never said that.
There's a video.
No, he has not said that we'll get rid of the NHS and privatise it. Don't be silly. Now, Peter says, Nana, Singapore does very well with low taxes, best health service, and everyone is covered cradle to grave.
Tiny country there. Tiny country.
But you can...
Tiny place, nothing like the UK.
So, but you can take a model...
70 million people.
You can take a model of something and see if you can mirror elements of it to make your own health service better. And it's that very attitude there, Paul, which is why nothing is changing, because you, by the sounds of it, it seems to think the NHS is perfect.
I support the NHS, but I think it needs to be reformed and modernised.
But this is
exactly what I just said.
And citizens have to take more responsibility for their own well-being.
This is in response, though, to you saying that low taxes, you wouldn't get good services. I'm telling you. Well, in Singapore, they have low taxes and good services.
We tried it here, didn't we, with austerity? They took all the police off the streets and then crime went through the roof.
Paul, look, you've got to take criticism. The NHS isn't working. It's like this sacred cow. Use it as a political football. I'm afraid it isn't working and it needs a total rehaul. I'm afraid it does.
All right, well, listen, what do you think? 33 minutes after 4 o'clock here with me. I'm Nana Akua. Still to come, difficult conversations. Joining me, Ukrainian politician Kira Ruddick. She'll be discussing the latest developments in the Ukraine war. Next, in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, should Britain be on a war footing? First, your headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Nana, thank you. The top stories this hour. 162 migrants have arrived into Dover on border force vessels today after they set off on small boat dinghies this morning. We now know there's a third dinghy in the channel. It's making slow but steady progress towards the UK. The boat set off from a beach south of Boulogne. As tens of thousands of people get away for the bank holiday weekend, French authorities have reportedly suspended new EU border checks at the port of Dover after delays reached up to 5 hours. It comes as a heat wave hits the UK, with temperatures expected to be hotter than the Seychelles today, highs of 30 degrees in the south of England. And at least 90 people have been killed in an explosion at a coal mine in the Shaanxi province of northern China, with officials warning that number is expected to rise. Those are the latest headlines. More in half an hour.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Hello there, a very good afternoon to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. If you are out and about this weekend, do remember that sun cream, because there will be high levels of UV for many of us, courtesy of the plentiful amounts of sunshine we'll be seeing underneath this area of high pressure that's going to be in play across broad swathes of the UK. And even into this evening, we'll continue to see some late sunny spells across particularly areas of England and Wales, and generally those clear spells persisting right throughout the night. A few mist and fog patches can't be ruled out in places as we head into the back end of the night, but they'll clear off pretty quickly once dawn arrives. Temperatures in rural areas tonight may drop down into single figures, so a little fresh for some of us, but towns and cities generally holding up in double-digit figures, so a milder start to Sunday here. We do have this cloud draped across the far northwest of Scotland, and this is bringing some outbreaks of rain, particularly to the Highlands, and it may become a bit more persistent in places as we start off Sunday morning, a bit of a damp one here, but some sunshine emerging for eastern Scotland, parts of southern Scotland and into eastern Northern Ireland as well. Really, for much of England and Wales, Sunday promises almost wall-to-wall blue skies. There will be some fair weather cloud bubbling up in places, but plenty of fine, dry conditions if you are wanting to step outside. Remember, again, those UV levels will be high, but also the pollen levels are picking up for those hay fever sufferers. If you want to escape some of the heat that we are seeing, coastal areas will be a touch fresher, but sea surface temperatures at this time of the year are still relatively low, so do be prepared for a little bit of a shock when you take a dip. But inland, temperatures peaking at around 31 degrees Celsius in parts of the southeast. Quite rare to be seeing those sorts of values at this point in May. Things staying fine though as we head into Sunday evening, and this rain in the far north will continue to move away. So even as we head into bank holiday Monday, it's now pretty much wall-to-wall blue sunshine for most of us, and those temperatures actually peaking on Monday, potentially one of our hottest bank holidays on record. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
From court mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. Don't forget, download that GB News app. It is completely free, and you can check out all the programmes on the channel at your leisure. Now, lots of you have been getting in touch. Major says, Nana, more taxes because Labour policies are not working, so up go more taxes. I wouldn't let them run a bath for me. I know, honestly. And then he just says that Andy was talking rubbish. He changes his mind like the weather. He did, didn't he? I mean, he was meant to disagree with me, we were meant to argue, but he actually agreed with me, so I had to move on. But now in the Great British debate, I'm asking, should Britain be on a war footing? Now, with tensions rising in the Middle East and British military bases in Cyprus coming under renewed scrutiny, questions are growing over Britain's role on the world stage. Now, some argue that the UK must strengthen its defences and prepare for future threats, whilst others fear escalating conflict. So for the Great British debate, I'm actually saying, listen, what is going on? Should we actually now be on a war footing? Well, joining me now, broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy, and also former Labour advisor Paul Richards. Lizzie Cundy.
Yes, indeed, Nana. You know, we are living in the most frightening times. I don't think our world has ever been so scary as it is today, and we need to at least double our defence spending. But this government wants to spend, more on welfare than defence, despite what is going on in the world. We've got deleted, armed forces. We can't even fill Wembley Stadium with our armed forces. We've become a laughing stock, and the world know it. I mean, look what happened with HMS Dragon. Dragon, exactly. It took 2 weeks to get to Cyprus in the end, and now, did you know, it's broken down with plumbing problems.
There's something wrong with
They've
water.
all got to been told to get off ship. I mean, what is going on? We have to do something, and I'm sorry. Keir Starmer is not doing enough. He's not putting enough into defence spending. Don't forget, under defence spending is also MI5, MI6, the pensions, veteran pensions, so forth. So we need to really wake up, Prime Minister, wakey. It's a scary world.
I'm glad you highlighted that what comes under defence spending.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people won't realise when they're upping the ante, doesn't mean they're buying weapons and all that. It could mean just something else. Paul Richards.
Well, I sort of tend to agree. We need to be spending a lot more on defence. I think
should we be on a war footing?
Yes, absolutely. We are in effect war with Russia. I mean, they're infiltrating our cyber systems. They're bringing down infrastructure through cyber warfare. And we know that if they could invade, they would. Certainly the Baltics, and we'd have to fight them in the Estonia and all the rest of it. So yes. It's 20, 30 years, I suppose, of underinvestment in defence. So everyone's culpable for this, really, since the wall came down, since Berlin Wall came down and we won the Cold War. We thought we could divert resources to other things, and we were proved wrong by that. The government has cut the overseas aid budget to put into defence. That was an unpopular but difficult but correct decision, in my view. We now need to get defence expenditure up to the 3% and maybe beyond that in the future. We need to double the size of the army and get more young people into the the army. We should look at things like national service again. And most of all, the most important thing right now is this pipeline of defence deals that isn't being translated into actual jobs and manufacturing. So there's a lot of money held up in the system. We need to get that released, and the money needs to go into UK manufacturing, defence, guns, tanks, whatever it might be.
Should it come out of welfare spending? Because there is a large element of waste in welfare, and we know this.
I think there needs to be, just as we did with the overseas aid budget, maybe some quite tough decisions about how we spend money.
He won't, will he? Because he hasn't got a backbench, Keir Starmer. He's scared of his backbenchers. He can't do it.
Well, do you know, I honestly think the historian will judge him as somebody who rearmed, and in the
what about
European
now?
as
Let's
well.
talk about now. Let's not talk about what history will or won't judge him as.
That's his main legacy. If in the future when he goes, it's going to be rearmament. That's going to thing we'll remember.
He hasn't done anything.
Well,
he's going to be out of office.
He's made a joke. He keeps saying it's not our war. I mean, how many times he said it's not our war, not our war?
Well, I'm glad.
He actually, do you know, he let the special relationship go. If it weren't for King Charles, you know, I don't know where we'd be with America. Let me finish. And you know, if we don't, you know, we've got to prepare for war if we want peace. He doesn't seem to realise it or grasp it, the danger. He let down even the Gulf allies of ours. He couldn't make his mind up. Should I let them use the base or not? And then he had to in the end anyway. I mean, he can't make a decision. He sits on the fence so much it gets splinters. You have to agree.
I'm glad that there aren't British forces on the ground in the Middle East, because we rushed towards getting to Trump's war, and I think history will judge him very favourably for that.
Come on.
And that's exactly
make a decision.
And that is where the public is
What,
too.
judge him for not making a
we do not
decision?
want boots on the ground in this war.
Do you remember when Zippy on Rainbow would go?
I used to get called Zippy at school.
I used to be called that. That's why my mum called me that. That's like Keir Starmer making a decision.
That's what he'll be remembered for. Not making a decision, being a weak leader. That's what he'll be remembered for, I'm afraid. The most unpopular Prime Minister of our history.
All right, well, this show's nothing without you. Let's welcome our great British voice, his opportunity to be on the show. Let's go to Watford, speak to David Balme. David, what do you think about all of this? Go on.
How can we put this? We are at war. We have been at war for many, many years. We have a threat from the east. Fortunately, Ukraine has stood up to Russia. Britain gave our drones to Ukraine, and now we're woefully short of drones. According to a report I read this week, we've got about a week's worth of drones if anyone attacks us. So instead, let's cut the welfare budget, invest in the technology, because today's generation who would make national service won't want to fight. They will find any reason. David. They won't want to fight, so we have to find a modern way of fighting a war, which is drone technology. It is Ukraine has proved it. You don't need boots on the ground to win a war. You need drone technology, and that's where the money needs to go in. And that's his job to protect us.
I agree with you, David Balme. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much, David Balme in Watford, looking good. Right, well, the Ministry of Defence said in a statement that the status of the sovereign base areas is not in question. Our bases in Cyprus play a crucial role in supporting the safety of British citizens and our allies in the Mediterranean and in the Middle East. And a spokesperson for the Cypriot government declined to comment. Well, stay with us. If you're in search of some holiday sun, I would stay here, but here's the weather in Europe.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're heading to the Mediterranean for the half-term holidays, don't forget to pack the sun cream and sun hat, because there's plentiful amounts of sunshine right across the board, courtesy of high pressure that's in charge, much like here in the UK. The one exception to the rule is further towards the east. There are some heavy showers lingering around parts of Greece, but more especially so into Turkey, though those will tend to ease off as we head towards the middle part of the week, and really it is sunshine that's going to be the main prevailing factor.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
My
Martin Daubney. Weekdays from 3 p.m.
Colin, it's always an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And of course, you're wearing your full Chelsea pensioner regalia. It's a resplendent sight. Colin Thackeray. 2/3 of young people don't even know what VE Day is. You know what it is. You lived through it. Tell us, tell the nation how important it is and your memories of that beautiful day.
Well, extremely important to remember and to continue to remember. It means obviously victory in Europe. And it was a great day because everybody was happy and, you know, we all lived through 5 years of war and it was a smashing time. And I'd rather hope that people will continue to do so.
Do you think the problem now, Colin, is we've got a younger generation who are taught badly and they're taught often to be ashamed of British history. We talk about slavery, the evils of empire, yet we don't celebrate the genuine heroism of VE Day and people like yourself.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know, 2 years ago, we were in Korea. We went across for a revisit and I hadn't seen the place for 70 years. And it was extraordinary. The place was, the school was built up and the people were marvellous. And every child knows exactly when the war was there, what we were there for. And we were told, I was told by a 9-year-old, it never occurred to me that, look, if you didn't come, we would be living the same as North Korea. That's a shame, isn't it?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
So good afternoon. It's just coming up to 5 o'clock now. A few months ago, I had a series of blood tests taken by my guest, Dr. Amir Khan, and now the results are in. I'm pleased to say Dr. Amir Khan joins me now. So, Dr. Khan, I did get a lot of people saying, oh, what were the results and blah, 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 blah. So talk to me, first of all, about what the test was doing and then the results and what the move is next.
OK. So I think you came to me with a major concern. A health concern, which would possibly increase your risks if you were to develop cancer. And you know, there are lots of people out there who are concerned about developing cancer. The whole thing about cancer is that you know, I'm not a cancer expert.
No.
What I am, though, is an integrative physician who looks after patients. And as part of looking after patients, I think diagnostics are really important. We all know that the National Health Service is under a great deal of stress and that what we should be doing is looking after ourselves. And we do that through finding out exactly where we stand. And if we have knowledge, if we have data, quality data, we can then take the right actions through either changing something, putting in place treatments, or screening, because if something's going to come, if we pick it up earlier, that's the best time to pick it up. And certainly there's been a huge movement in the treatment of cancer, and people have been looking for cures. Unfortunately, there isn't a cure. Once you've got cancer, you've got it. It's an end event. And then it's all about managing it and controlling it and minimizing its effects. What the tests are now looking at are early changes happening at a cellular level, which indicate the progression to cancer. So this is pre-cancer screening, and the National Health Service and all the health services across the world are looking at it.
Mm. So let's see. So just can you explain to people how cancer works? Because the way you explained it to me, I suddenly understood why it is that it's not really something that you cure because your cells are making it, right?
Yes, yeah. I think from the point when we're born, You said earlier about looking after people from cradle to grave, and I think that's really important. Not just a health service provider, but for a community as well, because sustainability of health is all about sustaining a community. And so when we're born, then we're exposed to what we call an environmentome, which is toxic. And that journey through that environmentome produces changes at a DNA level, which can lead to cancer. And what happens is that when we're young, our cells are replicating, the stem cells are replicating because we need more cells to grow. So they're producing the number of cells that we need to grow and to mature. And at that time, any changes at the DNA level can result in a change that may lead to cancer. Now, also at that sort of age, our immune system and our defense systems are at their peak. So they're looking for these, they're detecting them early, and our immune system and our repair systems are sorting things out for us. But as we get older, the whole system slows down. And we don't recognize those changes as effectively as we were doing when we were younger. And certainly, when we enter mid-age, those systems start to fail.
So let's get the results in then. What were the results? You can tell me. I'm all right. I'm a big girl.
The results for you are fine, okay? We look at the transcriptomes, and what we find is that your dysregulated transcriptomes are within the low risk.
Well, that's good news. So there's no cellular change to my DNA that will be sending cancer to each of my organs, as it were. So the stem cells, the original cells, and they are not altering, and that's good news.
They haven't yet.
Okay.
So the thing to do is then to monitor, and we know that when we get that change, there's about 18 months before the cancer actually sets in.
All right, well, Dr. Khan, do you have a website if people want to find out more? Do you have a website or anywhere where people can go if they want to find out more?
Yeah, there's a website for the actual test, which is the HRC test. And if they look at that, it'll give them some information about that. And we've got our clinic, which is the Harley Street Longevity Clinic.
All right, Dr. Emir Khan, thank you very much. Still to come, our reporter Will Godley will join us to discuss the weather first. Let's find some more weather, actually.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, a very good afternoon to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. If you are out and about this weekend, do remember that sun cream because there will be high levels of UV for many of us, courtesy of the plentiful amounts of sunshine we'll be seeing underneath this area of high pressure that's going to be in play across broad swathes of the UK. And even into this evening, we'll continue to see some late sunny spells across particularly areas of England and Wales, and generally those clear spells persisting right throughout the night. A few mist and fog patches can't be ruled out in places as we head into the back end of the night, but they'll clear off pretty quickly once dawn arrives. Temperatures in rural areas tonight may drop down into single figures, so a little fresh for some of us, but towns and cities generally holding up in double-digit figures, so a milder start to Sunday here. We do have this cloud draped across the far northwest of Scotland, and this is bringing some outbreaks of rain, particularly to the highlands, and it may become a bit more persistent in places as we start off Sunday morning, a bit of a damp one here, but some sunshine emerging for eastern Scotland, parts of southern Scotland and into eastern Northern Ireland as well. Really for much of England and Wales, Sunday promises almost wall-to-wall blue skies. There will be some fair weather cloud bubbling up in places, but plenty of fine dry conditions if you are wanting to step outside. Remember again, those UV levels will be high, but also the pollen levels are picking up for those hay fever sufferers. If you want to escape some of the heat that we are seeing, coastal areas will be a touch fresher, but sea surface temperatures at this time of the year are still relatively low, so do be prepared for a little bit of a shock when you take a dip. But inland, temperatures peaking at around 31 degrees Celsius in parts of the southeast. Quite rare to be seeing those sorts of values at this point in May. Things staying fine, though, as we head into Sunday evening, and this rain in the far north will continue to move away. So even as we head into Bank Holiday Monday, it's now pretty much wall-to-wall blue sunshine for most of us, and those temperatures actually peaking on Monday, potentially one of our hottest bank holidays on record. Enjoy your day.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Are you dreaming of a ton of tax-free cash this summer? We want to make that dream come true with a stunning £76,543 and 21 pence in cash to spend however you like. Put a new car on the drive or just relax in the knowledge that this year we've got your back. For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversations.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Hello and welcome to GB News. I'm Nana Akua and it's just coming up to 4 o'clock. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. And this show is all about opinion. It's mine, it's theirs, and of course it's yours. We'll be debating, discussing, and at times we will disagree, but no one will be cancelled. So joining me for the next hour, broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy, and also former Labour advisor Paul Richards. So earlier on in my niggle.
National insurance, up. Capital gains tax, up. Inheritance tax, up. Energy taxes, up. Business rates, up.
Yes, Rishi Sunak had a point, didn't he? I mean, the answer to everything is tax, pretty much, for Labour. Well, I gave my view in my niggle. If you missed it, head over to GB News' YouTube channel and you can catch it there. Now, GB News can also confirm that a third migrant dinghy, yes, is on the way in the English Channel. It's heading towards this country, towards Dover. We'll be bringing you the latest as and when. In difficult conversations, joining me in the studio, Kira Ruddock, who is currently serving as a People's Deputy in Ukraine and is the leader of the Holos Party. Now, she'll be joining us to discuss the latest news from the war, and I'll be asking her what's next for the country. Then in the Great British Debate, it's been reported that UK officials suggested establishing a single market for goods trade with the EU as part of the next phase of its Brexit reset, which sounds to me like they want us to go back in. But guess what? The EU said, no thank you. Well, I'll be asking if Britain's proud legacy is being betrayed. My pod is live on gbnews.com. Cast your vote now. But before we get started, your latest news with Tatiana Sanchez.
Nana, thank you very much. The top stories. A third dinghy is in the English Channel this afternoon. That boat set off from a beach south of Boulogne. That is as 162 migrants arrived into Dover on board a force vessels today after they set off on 2 small dinghies this morning. A surge in channel crossings is expected this weekend as a heatwave hits the UK. 400 migrants were recorded making the journey yesterday. GB News' national reporter Will Godley has more.
One set off from France at 8 o'clock this morning. The other set off from Belgium in the early hours before then arriving in Dunkirk around 6 o'clock in the morning. Both boats linked up with border force vessels at the halfway point of the English Channel. Before then, border force officers brought them in here for processing. Our provisional figures show there were 162 people on board these 2 boats. But with this warm weather and calm winds continuing, no doubt people smugglers want to take advantage of the weather. More crossings could continue this bank holiday weekend.
French authorities have suspended the new EU border checks at the port of Dover after delays reached up to 5 hours. It comes as tens of thousands of holidaymakers try to cross the English Channel for the bank holiday weekend. The port is allowing anyone who missed their ferry crossing because of queues to travel on the next available free slot. It says temperatures could be higher than the Seychelles today, with highs of 30 degrees expected in the south of England. Britain is also forecast to see its hottest May day on record on Monday, with temperatures reaching 33 degrees across the south and the Midlands. The UK Health Security Agency has issued amber heat health alerts for the Midlands, the east and southeast of England and London until Wednesday. With those aged 65 and over at risk, GB News' Tara Goodsill spoke to people in the capital about how they're enjoying the weather.
Really enjoy it. I mean, we don't get it very often, do we? So we've got to make the most of it.
I won't be out and about too much, I'll be honest with you.
You don't like the sun?
I'm not a big lover of the heat.
I've got water with me and I've got suntan lotion, so yeah, I think it's fine.
It probably will be too hot later, yes. And then we'll just have to retire to a bar and stay there for the rest of the evening.
Seychelles, really? I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it does get a bit hot. You do not want to get into the tube. But yeah, you do enjoy it. I think past 28, 29 degrees, it gets a bit unbearable. But overall, I do enjoy it, yeah.
A new report is warning the UK is facing an economic catastrophe unless it adapts to a generation rewired by smartphones. Former Minister Alan Milburn's review, to be released next week, examines why almost 1 million 16 to 24-year-olds are not in employment, education or training. It's expected to blame smartphones and social media for rising levels of anxiety, depression and neurodiversity. Speaking to The Times, he rejected claims that young people are snowflakes and said the country is at risk of writing off a whole generation. And at least 90 people have been killed in an explosion at a coal mine in the Jiangxi province in northern China, with officials warning that number could rise. Chinese state media reports 247 workers were on site when the gas explosion occurred. President Xi Jinping has urged authorities to spare no effort in treating the injured and in search and rescue missions, and ordered an investigation into the cause. Those are the latest GB News headlines. For now, it's back to Nana.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Good afternoon and welcome to GB News. It is coming up to 6 minutes after 5 o'clock. I'm Nana Akua. We are live on TV, online and on digital radio. Don't forget you can download the GB News app completely free. Check out all the programmes at your leisure. Coming up this hour, the sun is out and the boats are on their way. Yes, 400 illegal migrants arrived in Britain yesterday and over 50 have already arrived today, with the third dinghy on the way. Now, we'll be bringing you the latest updates on that story. Then, in difficult conversations, joining me in the studio, Ukrainian politician Kira Rudik, to discuss the conflict in Ukraine and ask what happens next. I mean, you won't want to miss that. She'll be live in the studio here at GB News. And in the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is Britain's legacy being betrayed after it's been reported that UK officials suggested establishing a single market for goods trade with the EU, but the EU said, no, thank you. Wow. Oh, well, is that yet another embarrassment for the UK? So in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, is Britain's legacy being betrayed? All of that is on the way. Your thoughts, your comments, you can scan the QR code on the side of the screen, or why not send me a message at gbnews.com/your say. So breaking news, a third migrant dinghy is in the English Channel and has just entered British waters. 162 small boat migrants have arrived on UK shores today. That is according to GB News' provisional figures. Now, my national reporter, Will Godley, has been in Dover for us and has now hot-footed it back to the studio to join me now. So, Will Godley, what have you seen there?
Well, so far today we saw 2 British Border Force vessels bringing in 2 lots of small boat migrant arrivals. The first just after 11 o'clock this morning, the second about 1:30 this afternoon. So far on both of those boats in total, there was 162 small boat migrants who have entered the UK today illegally, but now more are on the way. A third small boat has just entered British waters, and meeting that small boat there, which is escorted to the line, that line in the Channel Tunnel, imaginary line halfway between the French side and the British side, is where the British Border Force vessel Volunteer is meeting this small boat, and that's where the migrants on board get off their dinghy and board this Border Force vessel. And once they're all on board and get their life jackets on, they will then get driven in this Border Force vessel to the port of Dover, where that processing takes place. And these boats can have as many as 100 people on. They can be 11 metres long, so potentially another 100 small boat migrants on their way to Dover this afternoon.
So what a joke. I mean, really, seriously. So what you're seeing there is just them being escorted, basically, by one of our ferries and brought on shore, and that's it. Nothing else. They did that. Are there any other news crews around you covering it, or is it just, from what you can see, just GB News?
When we were there today, there were some other news crews, also people live streaming it on their, say, YouTube channels or whatever they were doing. Also, a number of locals coming to see what we were up to as well, asking what we were doing there as well. But of course, today in Dover, there was also chaos from the ports there. The town was gridlocked with queues and queues of passengers, cars wanting to go on their holidays to France, people waiting up to nearly 5 hours to get onto their ferry. So Dover as well today was pretty chaotic scenes. But the numbers of small boat migrants that have come across the channel today, obviously more are on the way, but 162 so far, according to our provisional figures, is not by any way stretch of the means a huge amount compared to what we sometimes do see. Last year, on the busiest days, more than 1,000 small boat migrants would have made the crossing on any one day. And yesterday alone, the figure much higher at 394. So some crossings today, but not loads by any stretch of the means. Border Force officers perhaps might think this is rather a quiet day, although a quiet day for them probably is when there's no crossings. That's what there had been for about 2 weeks before yesterday, and up until yesterday, crossings for the year down 44% compared to the year before.
Yeah, but we've had a lot of bad weather, so now we've got the weather. This could be the beginning. Maybe there'll be a massive influx of them tomorrow.
Certainly could be, and that's something that officials in the Home Office and Border Force officials will be looking out for. And obviously the Home Office will want to point out they've just signed this new deal in April with France, a UK-French deal that is cracking down on the small boats from leaving French beaches, and French police often now seen slashing the boats to prevent them from getting off the way. And as a result of that, boats now leaving from Belgium. And one of the boats that arrived today, one of the passengers on board, set off from Belgium in the early hours of this morning, travelled down in the sea along the coastline, escorted by a Belgian official boat into French waters, where it then went into the shallows in a beach by Dunkirk. People there, migrants on the beach, having to wade into the shallows to jump on board before then making that journey. 83 people on that boat. That was the one that was then picked up by a Border Force vessel at the halfway mark and arrived around lunchtime into Dover.
Well, Will Godley, thank you very much. Thanks for that. I mean, it's just an absolute affront to the taxpayers of this country that we're expected to pay for that. Will Godley, thank you so much. All right, let's speak to the Director of First Migration, Dean Morgan. Dean, I made a suggestion earlier that I thought that what would actually happen if we picked up people from their dinghies, put them on the vessel, and then just carried on straight to France and then left them there and just turned around and came back. What would the French possibly do? I don't think they'd start a war with us. A lot of people probably understand it. Why don't we just do that and see what happens?
We could do, but if you look at Australia, they actually came up with a solution that's still working now with the, the boat people, and that was third-party offshore processing. Just dumping someone on a freezing cold beach in France, I could see how the human rights lawyers would have a field day with that one, but I don't understand why it can't be government policy. Especially as we left the EU. Our Parliament and the House of Lords is meant to be sovereign. The judiciary is meant to be sovereign. Clearly, the majority of the British people are sick and tired of the lack of control of the illegal routes. Billions has been spent, trillions if not, on the military-industrial complex and the intelligence services since the start of the Cold War. And if you look at Edward Snowden, he said Operation Treasure Map, they've had the ability since 2011 to track every mobile device in the world and play it back later. So with AI, how can you not smash the organised crime gangs? I'm so confused. And, we're signed up to Interpol. Why aren't we exercising Interpol to extradite people here? Why isn't Parliament passing strict laws to say we're going to go Emirati style on this? 25 years for people smuggling. Make the deterrent so bad there's no financial compensation, you'd be willing to risk it. But year after year, decade after decade, it's the same narrative, isn't it? It's the same story, and it's always put down to incompetence, sadly.
Why do you think that they're not really prepared to tackle the problem? Because when they want to, they can. So if they really want to deal with something, you've seen them find money from anywhere and just do what they need to do. But somehow there seems to be a very sort of lacklustre approach in dealing with this serious problem, because I would agree that it is an invasion of our shores.
Well, it's a national security issue. It's a societal issue. We're seeing the UK more divided now. We see crime rates increasing generally, and that's not to blame everything on migrants. That's too easy to do. But, the country is pretty much bankrupt if you look at our borrowing and everything else going on. This is just unsustainable. And we've lived here for decades. And is it getting better or is it getting worse? But why is it happening? I mean, if you keep promising that you're going to reduce legal migration, and I've been working within the system for 2 decades now, so, I feel like I can speak with authority here, but, mass migration, it seems to have been policy for a very long period of time. And if anyone ever raised any objections to it, because look, legal migration in a globalized world is essential. We need the best skilled people coming here. People marry around the world now with social media and have the right to bring their partners here. Our universities need students to come and pay a fortune in some ways to subsidize the British students that are there. But when you look at the sheer number of people that have come here too quickly over such a short period of time, has it made the UK a better place or has it made it a worse? And I leave that for your viewers to decide.
Well, I think on many levels it's actually left it... I'm quite happy to answer that. I think it's left it worse, particularly with the dinghies. I mean, that's just absurd that we sit there observing it, telling you how many people are on their way to this country illegally, and we don't appear to be... We appear to be powerless to do anything about it. I don't get it. I know governments can act if they really want to, and if there's a will, there's a way, but somehow there is no will, and I don't really get that. OK, well, very, very briefly, what would you say, Dean, needs to be done right now to try and really quell this? Because they're coming right now. Oh, we've lost Dean. Oh, shame. All right, well, that would have been a good answer, but perhaps he didn't want to answer. I don't blame him. Dean Morgan, thank you very much. He's the Director of First Migration. Right, well, if you thought that summer had arrived early, you'd be right, because Britain is set for a scorching bank holiday weekend with temperatures climbing into the low 30s and some experts warning that Monday could become the hottest May day ever recorded in the United Kingdom. Amber heat alerts are now in place. What, not the red fiery maps? As millions prepare for a proper sun-soaked getaway weekend. Well, let's speak to meteorologist Aidan McGiffin. Aidan, it's so nice to actually speak to you rather than just have you as a sort of recorded voice. Aidan, talk to me.
Hello. Yeah, it's great to be on, and it's a glorious weekend out there. Beautiful here in Devon, and a lot of people will be enjoying the sunshine across England and Wales. Just a quick note on Scotland and Northern Ireland before we get into the numbers, because Scotland and Northern Ireland have been much cooler and cloudy with some rain today and tomorrow. But if you are in Scotland and Northern Ireland, bear with us. It's going to turn sunnier across the whole of the UK from Monday onwards.
Wow. So how many days do you reckon we'll have of this lovely warm weather?
More or less all week. So
Really?
the rest of the month, effectively, until the last day of May or the first day of June. This high pressure that is bringing the fine weather, it's going to extend across the whole of the UK during the next couple of days. And, this is unprecedented, isn't it? An amazing bank holiday weekend, and then half term for many people. It's going to last. The sunshine's going to last throughout the week.
Oh, that's just so good, isn't it? Because usually the weekends are horrible, and then when you're actually at work, then they're really, really just, the weather's nice, if that ever happens. It never happens this way around. So, I mean, we're going to do the advice bit. What's your advice to people when they're going out in the sunshine?
Yeah, well, lots of people, me included, love this kind of weather. We can enjoy it safely, and that's great. A load of people getting out and about this weekend. The sun, of course, is strong. We're not used to that this spring because it has been cool and often changeable. So watch out for that. Get the factor 50 on. Stay hydrated, common sense advice. And another thing that sadly we hear about when we get these early season hot spells is people get into trouble when they jump into random bodies of water, because the water is still cold and that can cause cold water shocks. So just watch out for that. The sea surface temperatures are just 9 to 13 Celsius across the UK, and inland bodies of water, similar temperatures. So yeah, if you're feeling hot, you want to cool off, jumping in water that is out of your depth might cause trouble. So that's just a piece of advice based on the time of year this is happening.
Well, that's really good advice. Thank you very much, Aidan McGivern. Really nice to talk to you. Go and enjoy the sunshine.
Thanks.
Excellent. That's meteorologist Aidan McGivern. There he is. I get to speak to him. Right, so it's coming up to 19 minutes after 5 o'clock. If you just tuned in, why now? Oh, you're in the sun. OK, fair enough. I'm Nana Akua. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. Next, difficult conversations. Joining me in the studio, Ukrainian politician Kira Ruddock. We're discussing the latest developments in the Ukraine war. You will not want to miss that. Do not move a muscle.
Five hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon and welcome to GB News. We are Britain's #1 news channel. I'll just add that in. I'm Nana Akua. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. Just coming up to 22 minutes after 5 o'clock, and if you've just tuned in, I will welcome you because you've actually come in at a very good time. This week's Difficult Conversations. Now, it is with Ukrainian Member of Parliament, Kira Rudik, and we can see that the Ukraine war has just literally been a frightening thing. It's dropped down the news agenda recently due to all the other conflicts in the world. There's so much going on, but it is very much still happening. So joining me in the studio, the People's Deputy of Ukraine, Kira Rudik. Now, Kira, I mean, it's so good to see you in the person.
Same here. Thank you so much for having me.
You're like action woman. I see you. You're championing your people. You really have. I can see that you have a strong faith to support the people around you, and the way the Ukrainians have dealt with this situation is quite something. I mean, really.
It is, and thank you so much for saying this.
Yeah.
If you remember, at the very beginning, in 2022. The most intelligences of the world were not giving us more than 2 or 3 days for Putin to take Kiev.
Yeah.
And look, it's almost 5th year since the beginning of full-scale invasion, and we are still fighting. We are fighting, and Russia said that they will win, but they are not. And we appreciate the support from all our partners. We appreciate the support from the United Kingdom the most, because here, this is the unique country where all the parties are supporting Ukraine, and there is no debate about that British people are supporting Ukraine. This is amazing. Every time I come here, I go near number 10, and I check if the Ukrainian flag is still here. So for that, I am so grateful, because there are many countries who say that they are our partners and allies, but at the end, they are not acting like ones.
Do you think that the West kind of misunderstands the reality that the Ukrainians face every day? Because we can't imagine what you're going through. Because actually, Ukraine was very much like London, as you were all going about your business, doing everything normally.
Absolutely.
Normal lives, everything. But then Putin invaded, and everything must have changed. Do you think that we sort of don't understand what it's like?
It's impossible to imagine the war unless you face it, unless you see it. And this is why we are so grateful that there are so many members of parliament here in the UK who have come to Ukraine, who have visited, who have checked it and understood, and so many organizations as well. Just imagine your real normal life that can be interrupted at any time by the air raid siren, knowing that there are missiles coming your way to with attempt to kill you and everything you loved and cared for. You don't know where your children are, if they're at school or kindergarten. You are always in fear for their safety. You try to hide in the bomb shelters. So all your schedules are done. And sometimes when you go to bed at night, you have no guarantees that you will wake up in the morning, because many of Russia's attacks are on civilian infrastructure, on residential area and buildings where people are killed in their beds. Can you imagine that?
It's absolutely horrible. I couldn't imagine it. And of course, the big warfare now is kind of drone warfare, which actually Ukraine have now become real innovators of.
We are very proud of it. And the war has changed every, I think, 3 to 6 months. Completely, starting from artillery, then to fighting with the bombs, then to fighting with drones, then to the drones that are on these special wires. And right now, the massive amount of the operations at the battlefield are being done by drone, by unmanned items. And For example, the evacuation from the battlefield is happening with the drones that are the ground ones. The operations in the air are being done by the aerial drones. So it is very important for us as well that our partners learn from it. Because believe me, Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea, they are learning, they're exchanging the information. This is why it is so important that there is a collaboration between Ukraine and the United Kingdom, Ukraine and European countries. So this innovation that we are getting from the battlefield, paying this enormous price, that it helps NATO countries actually improve and go forward and be ready to the threats that authoritarian regimes pose.
What do you think about the UK? Because the way we're positioned at the moment, Vladimir Putin has sent warships just to hover around. He sent planes to hover around, not dissimilar to the way he was kind of hovering around the edge of the Ukrainian border. What do you think about the UK when you look at us? Because we don't really have much in the way of protection or even in the way of an army, really.
I think there should be more investment in defense. Even if you remove at the moment Ukraine from the picture, there are so many threats in the world. And what we have seen from the United States is there could be a time when you will call for help and there may be a delay, or the help would not be the one that you expected. So you need to be able to rely on the real allies, but also to rely on yourselves. And we understand that after Second World War, there was this hope that all the wars are over. Unfortunately, they are not. So whenever the country is asking what we can do differently or what we can do more, we are saying invest in your security, because this is the matter of protecting your own people. Invest in the innovation of security. And this is where, again, the collaboration between countries is so important, because I keep saying that there are really two reasons why we keep standing. The first is brave men and women of Ukraine, but second is brave men and women of the democratic countries that are standing with us and supporting us. And the unity and ability to take down an enemy that is much bigger, much stronger, can only happen from a united effort. So invest in collaboration with other countries, invest in innovation, security and defense.
What does victory look like for Ukraine?
To absolutely know that our children wouldn't have to fight this war again, over and over. This is what we need to do. This is what we owe to the next generation of Ukrainians. It's very hard on the battlefield right now. We understand that the United States would not be putting pressure on Russia as they promised. We continue fighting, and we need to make sure that there would be some security guarantees. As of right now, there may not be security guarantees that would stop Putin in the future, so we will have to provide them. So we will have to become as strong as possible so our kids would not have to fight a war in 10 years.
I hear what you're saying with regard to making sure that you're sort of self-sufficient and you can look after yourself, but also the partnerships. There was that moment, though, when Volodymyr Zelensky some people say was treated badly by President Trump.
Oh, I remember.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
What was your immediate thoughts of all of that?
I was thinking that at that moment when there was a scandal in Oval Office, it was very hard for President, and I thought that he did the right thing, standing up for Ukraine and for the people of Ukraine. Yeah. Because no matter what you may think, when you have a president who is representing people who are fighting for their survival, it is critically important to treat him or her with respect. I just, on a personal level, thought that at that moment when President Zelensky was standing up to President Trump, that he felt that his nation is behind him. Because we may criticize him. We do criticize him inside the country because he was elected by Ukrainian people. But when he's on the international arena, he is representing our state and he needs to be treated with dignity and with respect. And that did not change. Though I am an oppositional party leader, and there are many things that I think that President should be doing differently and that he should be criticized for.
Yeah. I want to ask you about the young people of Ukraine, because obviously you would have lost a lot of young people during this war. But how's their spirit to fight and protect their country? Are they determined to protect?
They are. Yeah. They are absolutely, because we have... what's the alternative?
Yeah.
When the United States were trying to get us into into a certain deal where we would agree to whatever Russia wants. We said that we did not capitulate in 2022, and we do not intend to capitulate right now. We know what is at stake. And the future of not only for our children, but actually our really young generation is at stake. And we are so proud of them, because no matter that they are the youth of the war, they're so ambitious, they're so energetic, they want to be involved in the political life. And I'm in such an admiration of them. I just really hope that they would be able to see the end of the war and then be a part of rebuilding Ukraine.
Wow, I mean, the young people in this country are fleeing it because of the taxes in this country, so we don't think we'll have any left. But finally, on a personal note, for you, you must be one of the most recognisable faces of this war. What toll has this taken on you?
I learned that tomorrow may never come, that then whatever you plan, whatever you want to say, whoever you want to hug, and if you want to say, I love you, you have to do it today. If you want to help somebody, you do it today. And if there is the right thing that you have to do it today. And that's the main thing.
Yeah. Well, Kira Ruddock, thank you so much for coming in. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the People's Deputy of Ukraine, Kira Ruddock. If you just tuned in at 32 minutes after 5 o'clock, this is GB News. Coming up next in the Great British Debate, I'm asking, is Britain's legacy being betrayed? My panel will be joining me, Lizzie Cundy and also Paul Richards. But first, your latest news headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Nana, thank you. The top stories: 162 migrants have arrived in Dover on border force vessels today after they set off on small dinghies this morning. We now know that there's a third dinghy in the English Channel. It's making slow but steady progress towards the UK. The boat set off from a beach south of Boulogne. As tens of thousands of people get away for the bank holiday weekend, French authorities have reportedly suspended new EU border checks at the port of Dover after delays reached up to 5 hours. Traffic is now moving again, though. It comes as a heatwave hits the UK, with temperatures expected to be hotter than the Seychelles today, highs of 30 degrees in the south of England. And at least 90 people have been killed in an explosion at a coal mine in the Shanxi province in northern China. Officials warning that number could rise. Those are the latest headlines for now. More at 6 o'clock.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Hello there, a very good afternoon to you. This is your GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. If you are out and about this weekend, do remember that sun cream, because there will be high levels of UV for many of us, courtesy of the plentiful amounts of sunshine we'll be seeing underneath this area of high pressure that's going to be in play across broad swathes of the UK. And even into this evening, we'll continue to see some late sunny spells across particularly areas of England and Wales, and generally those clear spells persisting right throughout the night. A few mist and fog patches can't be ruled out in places as we head into the back end of the night, but they'll clear off pretty quickly once dawn arrives. Temperatures in rural areas tonight may drop down into single figures, so a little fresh for some of us, but towns and cities generally holding up in double-digit figures, so a milder start to Sunday here. We do have this cloud draped across the far northwest of Scotland, and this is bringing some outbreaks of rain, particularly to the highlands, and it may become a bit more persistent in places as we start off Sunday morning, a bit of a damp one here, but some sunshine emerging for eastern Scotland, parts of southern Scotland and into eastern Northern Ireland as well. Really, for much of England and Wales, Sunday promises almost wall-to-wall blue skies. There will be some fair weather cloud bubbling up in places, but plenty of fine, dry conditions if you are wanting to step outside. Remember, again, those UV levels will be high, but also the pollen levels are picking up for those hay fever sufferers. If you want to escape some of the heat that we are seeing, coastal areas will be a touch fresher, but sea surface temperatures at this time of the year are still relatively low, so do be prepared for a little bit of a shock when you take a dip. But inland, temperatures peaking at around 31 degrees Celsius in parts of the southeast. Quite rare to be seeing those sorts of values at this point in May. Things staying fine, though, as we head into Sunday evening, and this rain in the far north will continue to move away. So even as we head into Bank Holiday Monday, it's now pretty much wall-to-wall blue sunshine for most of us, and those temperatures actually peaking on Monday, potentially one of our hottest bank holidays on record. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
37 minutes after 5 o'clock. If you just tuned in, welcome on board. This is GB News. We're live on TV, online and on digital radio. You can also stream us live on YouTube. I'm Nana Akua, and it's time for the Great British Debate this hour. And I'm asking, is Britain's legacy being betrayed? Now, reports suggest that the UK government has explored closer trade integration with the EU through a single market for goods. Now, a move supporters call pragmatic, but critics see it as a step back from Brexit. So is this economic realism or betrayal of Britain's post-Brexit identity? I mean, surely we can look after ourselves. Are we slightly embarrassing ourselves and betraying the people of this country by showing that we don't appear to be able to, well, our politicians can't really manage anything, can they? So for the Great British Debate this hour, I'm asking, is Britain's legacy being betrayed? And I'd say possibly by our politicians. Well, joining me now is broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy, also former Labour advisor Paul Richards. I'm going to start with you, Lizzie Cundy, first this time.
Yeah, it's huge Brexit betrayal. I mean, look, the Conservative government didn't execute Brexit properly at all. And, you know, we voted, 17.4 million voted for this. And this government is slowly tiptoeing back to the EU. And the thing is, none of them will admit it and be honest about it. Take Andy Burnham. He suddenly, you know, a few months ago was saying, you know, that obviously he wanted to rejoin the EU, and now he's saying otherwise. So we've really got to look at this, and I think people are very, very disappointed, and this government's not being truthful about what they really want.
Paul Richards.
I mean, the referendum was 10 years ago, and a lot has changed since then. And I think the people that voted for Brexit...
What's changed, Paul?
Well, are we freer? Are we richer? Are we more secure than all the things we were promised?
I thought you were going to say COVID and all the other things that have got in the way.
I think it's just one of those things we were promised at the time. Certain things would happen, and 10 years on, they haven't. Well, I don't think people feel more prosperous and freer. They've got more control than they had. I think most people think the country is going to hell in a handcart.
We weren't promised those things.
The analysis is always, well, it wasn't done properly. Somehow that's the excuse. But it was done. We left the EU and we're poorer for it. Now, we're not going back in.
We've got our freedom. It's called freedom.
But you can't eat freedom, can you? It doesn't butter any parsnips, does it? Freedom. It's a concept. But,
but
what about living
got
standards?
To go through
What about money? What about people's, you know, cost of their shopping has gone up and all those things. So I think the argument now has to be, we're not going back into the EU, of course not, but what's the best deal we can get from our European partners in terms of trade, in terms of, you know, good people with expertise coming into the country, our kids being able to travel to Europe for university and those sorts of things, and particularly things that just, you know, help British business and make it more frictionless for British business to do well. The one thing this government's going to be judged on, I think, over everything, is growth in the economy. And unless we can deliver that in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll be hoyed out of office quite rightly too. So we need more trade with our closest partners. That's people in Europe.
But they've said no. The French have said no,
well,
thank
for
you.
now, there's a negotiation tactic,
but they don't want us. They don't want us now.
Well, they want more trade. I mean, they're not saying... They don't want us. They don't want it to look like you can leave the EU and get the benefits, do they?
One country has vetoed, that's France. They've said no.
but we'll still get more growth if we get a better deal.
Why
We've
are we
already got a
begging?
good deal in place. We're not begging. We are going and saying they want our products. They want our products, and we want their markets, and that's what business is, isn't it?
Well, if they want our products, they can just buy them.
Even
We don't
Mrs
need to
Thatcher
join
thought
the
that.
EU.
Even Mrs Thatcher believed in that. You know, that's not a radical view.
Well, how about your party just have a bit of honesty? Because our Prime Minister, who campaigned...
Is this what you wanted from Brexit? Are we 10 years on what you believed it would be?
He campaigned tirelessly against the vote. The British people voted, and you are going back against our will and what we voted
this isn't
for.
what they voted
That's not
for.
democratic.
They didn't vote to be poorer, which is where we've ended up. It's costing us billions of pounds.
17.4 million voted. I tell you what, they'll be up in arms, riots in the street, if we get any closer into the EU as this government is taking us.
We're not going back into the EU. That's
yeah,
not
but
on the
no,
table.
they don't want
That
us.
is
It
not
will
on the
cost us
table.
billions if we did. But they're slowly, step by step. What about where,
Come on, Izzy, is this what you wanted? I mean, is the country the nirvana we were promised 10 years ago?
I wanted freedom. I didn't want to have to go for any decision.
In what way are you more free now than you were 10 years ago?
We don't have to go through every single to make a decision happen. And look, good things have happened. You know, look what happened with the deal that Keir Starmer got with India. He wouldn't have got that if it weren't for Brexit. There are many beneficial things that he has traded on because he wouldn't have got without Brexit. Yet he's still determined to tiptoe back in and pretend he doesn't want to.
It's a trade deal, and you're right to point out the one with the America, the one with India. These are great, and there's a new one with the Gulf.
Thanks to Brexit.
These are great deals, and now we need to do a similarly great deal with the EU to get trade going for British businesses and British jobs.
Nobody would deny that we need to do a similar deal with the EU, but what it is when they do a deal with you, you have to forego things. So, for example, with the US, the EU-UK Defence Pact, they give away 12 years of fishing. I mean, do you know what I mean? So they expect...
Well, that's what a deal is, isn't it?
No.
That is the nature of a deal.
But we didn't get anything out of it. We didn't get anything out of it. And there was apparently going to be a second meeting where they're going to discuss things. We got nothing. We gave away 12 years of fishing. Other deals may wish us to jettison deals that we've made with America and India. See, so the problem with going back in...
to that. You know, there's in a negotiation, there's two sides trying to get something each for themselves. You know, we'll come out of it with what we want. That's how a deal works. But you can't just turn your back on Europe and say, oh, well, that was some terrible thing over there that we voted to leave.
We're not turning our back on Europe.
It's an enormous market that British business needs to trade with.
We're not turning our back on Europe. We're not at all. He's closing up. Don't forget, we've got this Prime Minister, rather be in Davos than Westminster. He never wanted Brexit. That is the truth of it. And he's doing it sneakily, step by step, slowly going back to the EU. And it is a huge, big British betrayal. And it's not democratic. And it's not what we voted for.
Well, Alison says that Reeves has destroyed the economy, nothing to do with Brexit. We voted for Brexit regardless. And we've put $1 billion a week more into the NHS. Never mind 350 million. So that's people saying that. And William says, you tell him, Lizzie, I know plenty of people who voted to remain that would now vote to leave. I'm yet to meet anyone who voted to leave that now wants to rejoin. They just don't.
Well, a lot of people on the polling suggest they actually do have buyer's remorse and they wish they hadn't voted for it. But maybe they didn't ask you in the polling. But a lot of people are saying, actually, this isn't what we signed up for. This isn't what we signed up for, is what a lot of people are saying.
Look, and it would cost us billions. Let's not forget that, how much it would cost us if we did rejoin.
No one is saying we're going to rejoin.
But he's doing it sneakily. You can see it.
We're not
Everything
rejoining.
he's doing.
It's not happening.
Well, the two leadership contenders would perhaps disagree with you and would like to see a rejoin in their lifetimes.
Yeah,
what we heard.
I call him One Way Wes Street. Is obviously what he said already. Wants to rejoin.
Right, well, stay with us, though. Loads more stuff to come. If you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European destinations.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
A lot of sunny and hot weather across the Med and Western Europe at the moment, especially for Spain and France. Very showery, however, with low pressure close to Greece and Turkey. Long spells of rain for Turkey. Greek islands mostly sheltered from the showers, but heavy downpours for mainland Greece. 1 or 2 showers for Italy, but we come to Iberia and France, and it's unusually hot and sunny during the next few days. Temperatures peaking in France into the mid to high 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
I'm not sure that we used to celebrate VE Day or even the end of the Second World War until recent years, and that's a reflection of the fact that the veterans who fought and took part in that campaign and everyone on the home front are themselves disappearing. Yes, it's partly to do with education. There are huge political pressures on what's in education and in the history package, which of course isn't compulsory. When we were in Iraq and Afghanistan, there was a much higher understanding of what past sacrifice meant. And people, of course, were seen far more often in uniform in the streets, and they were coming back from operational service and about to depart. And that all makes a huge difference. Now, of course, war is very distant. It's in the Gulf. It's in Ukraine. It's not impacting us in the same way that it was doing about 20 years ago.
Matthew, let's bring you in at this stage. Do you think Gen Z is ignorant to Britain's war heroes, or do you think it's just a lack of curiosity?
Yeah, I don't think Gen Z are ignorant. They're just a matter of being the way they've been brought up, how they've been brought up, and when they've been brought up. You know, when this generation have been coming through school, there hasn't been the veterans, because the veterans of the Second World War and the First World War have passed away. So it's not in their face as much. The rhetoric that they're getting taught in schools has been influenced a lot in the past sort of 30, 40 years with more left-wing, and I don't mean, I'm not trying to drag this into a political bias, but there is more left-wing rhetoric getting out in school.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, Parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hey, welcome back. It is time for our quickfire quiz, the part of the show where I test my panel on some of the other stories hitting the headlines right now. Joining me, Paul Richards. He is a former Labour advisor. Your buzzer, please. Somebody's got lazy on the script. And also broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Cundy. Your buzzer, please, Lizzie. Excellent. Now, please play along at home. Question 1, multiple choice. The rate of VAT on tickets to theme parks, zoos and museums has been cut to what over the summer holidays? Is it A, 7%, B, 5% or C, 10%? Lizzie Cundy.
C, 10%.
I think it's 5%.
I think you'll find it is 5%.
Hey.
Cundy, you're totally wrong. The answer is B, 5%, down from 20. Right, question number 2, open question. Green MP Carla Denyer has announced that she will be taking several weeks off from work to recover from what?
Is it anti-Semitism, Nana?
No. Paul Richards, is that your first answer?
Yes.
OK. Very good, Lizzie Cundy.
She's done it, overstressed, overload.
You needed the right word, I'll give you...
Overload.
No.
Oh, I know.
It's too late. Burnout.
Oh, burnout.
Yeah.
Burnout.
She's been struggling, so no points for either of you.
Oh, I was...
No. She's been struggling with persistent health issues, which she attempted to manage alongside the long hours, significant responsibility her work entails. She's going to take some time off, Paul. Is that good?
Well, it is if you've got mental health problems, of course it is. But if you're in that high-level job, think about maybe a by-election.
I definitely another by-election. She's not up to it. She can't be there doing that. Get a by-election.
There's all the sympathy there for you, Carla. Step aside. Question 3, closest answer wins. Aston Villa's 3-0 victory over Freiburg in the Europa League final in Istanbul was their first silverware for how many years? Lizzie Cundy.
20.
Paul Richards.
40.
Closest answer wins. The answer is 30.
The
The
We're both right.
No, you went
point each.
If you go over, then you get nothing.
I was first.
I've just added that rule in. All right, I'll give you both a point. That's
Yeah,
fair
I think
enough.
that's fair.
They both get a point. All right, question 4. True or false? It was revealed that the HS2 project is set to cost 50 billion. Lizzie Candy.
True.
Press your buzzer. I can't.
I think it's true.
No. Just say the opposite.
OK, false.
It's too late. I had to take your first answer. It's actually false if you'd said that. Sadly, you didn't.
Oh, shame.
Lizzie does it all the time. She makes it look like she knows what she's talking about. She doesn't.
Actress.
She doesn't.
I'm an actress. Hold on a minute.
He's very convincing.
It's false. It's actually due to the cost somewhere between 87.7 billion to 102.7 billion. Yes, I think it's more than it cost to send a rocket up into space.
to the moon.
Exactly, yes. Question 5, multiple choice. What musical instrument did the King play on a visit to an allotment in Northern Ireland? A, guitar, B, the drums, C, ukulele. Lizzie Candy.
C, ukulele.
The
drums.
The drums. I think it'd probably be the guitar. The ukulele. Lizzie Candy, 3-1 to you. Well done, Lizzie Candy. The winner for today's quiz, Lizzie Candy. Yay! Well done. Commiserations, Paul. Well, listen, in my poll today, I've been asking, is Britain's legacy being betrayed? And according to our results, what do you think, Paul?
95% people think that it is.
98.
99. 99% of you say yes, it is, and just 1% of you say no. Well, I'm agreeing with them. I think they're absolutely right.
That was me.
Useless politicians.
That 1% was Paul.
They're useless politicians. They're too scared to make any proper moves because they've been used to the EU making all the decisions for them. Well, listen, I've got to say a huge thank you to my brilliant panel. Broadcaster and columnist Lizzie Candy.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And also former Labour advisor Paul Richards for joining me today, Paul. Thank you very much. And a huge thank you to you at home for your company. Stay tuned. I'm not back tomorrow, actually. I'm going to enjoy the Super Hot Sunshine Christo Food Festival will take you through. But do not go anywhere, because up next, it's time for the Saturday 5. Enjoy.
Thank you, Nana. Another classically decisive survey there. Well, the biggest show on Saturday night, UK TV, is back. It is the Saturday 5, the biggest debates, the hottest topics and the most entertaining interviews. We're going to be talking about those net immigration figures and how the government is not telling you the whole story. Christo is going to be arguing for a poll tax. Bring back Thatcherism. And, of course, Renee is going to argue for women, as she has done so forcefully across her career. It's all coming up on the Saturday 5. Cheers.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. This is your latest GB News weather update provided by the Met Office. Hope you've had a lovely start to this bank holiday weekend. Many of us will continue to see a fine one as we head into Sunday, and overnight